Chapter 1350. On the other side, after Lin Xian and the rest left, Murong Qingqing asked worriedly, "Aren't you being too ostentatious? If you anger those people, I'm afraid it'll be bad for our operation." Lin Xian smiled and said, "I have to be arrogant. I can't help it. My appearance will definitely arouse their suspicions. They'll definitely test me. If I don't act like Hua Wufeng, I'm afraid it'll arouse their suspicions. And to be honest, I don't really care about those guys. Although they're called prodigies, they're no different from ants in my eyes. If they really dare to make a move, I don't mind playing with them. I'll let them know what a true prodigy is." At the end, Lin Xian's eyes were filled with sharpness. Indeed, although Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue were strong, they were only early-stage 9th-level venerables. Lin Xian could kill people like them with a slap, so he didn't really care about them. Although the southern desolation ancient town was in the middle of endless mountains, it was no different from a real city. It had all kinds of things. Lin Xian led Murong Qingqing and Luo Bingshan to the restaurant. In fact, the Dark and Light Conference was a very strange place. It didn't care about status, but strength and wealth. If you had money and strength, you could stay in the best hotel and enjoy the best treatment. If you didn't have money, even a hall master wouldn't be able to get the best treatment. However, the strength and wealth of a hall master wouldn't be lacking, so this situation wouldn't happen. However, the disciples of the Black Dragon sect were different. Here, they would be divided into different ranks and enjoy different treatment. This was the purpose of the Dark and Light Conference. It was to separate everyone into different ranks. Firstly, it was to reward the top warriors. Secondly, it was to stimulate the other warriors and make them work hard to cultivate. Lin Xian now had the identity of Hua Wufeng, so he was at the top in terms of status and wealth. Naturally, he wanted to stay in the best restaurant and enjoy the best treatment. The Dark and Light Convention would officially begin tomorrow, so Lin Xian and the others were very relaxed today and didn't go out to stroll around. The first day of the conference was to trade, because the Tianan region was very vast, and each hall belonged to a different region. Therefore, each of the halls had some treasures that they didn't need, or things that were unique to the region. The Dark and Light Conference had specially arranged a day for these people to trade. The next day was an auction organized by the headquarters of the Black Dragon cult. In this auction, some extremely precious treasures would be auctioned, treasures that would even move the hearts of those hall masters. The first 2 days were a battle of wealth, but the third day was not so gentle. The third day was a battle of strength. Lin Xian didn't know exactly what it was. He only knew that it was a competition called the Octatic Treasure Chess Game. However, it was said that the mysterious crystal appeared in the final Octatic Treasure Chess Game. Therefore, Lin Xian was looking forward to the Octatic Treasure Chess Game. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth raised into a smile. Then he formed a seal with his palm and quickly entered a state of cultivation. Strands of cold qi gushed out from the surface and quickly circled around the terrifying cold qi in all directions. As Lin Xian absorbed the cold qi of the sea god's ice, his ice martial spirit became stronger and stronger. Now, it was not weaker than the lightning martial spirit. Moreover, he believed that as long as he absorbed all of the sea god's ice, not to mention the lightning martial spirit, even the black flame martial spirit would surpass it. Lin Xian was cultivating in his room, but it wasn't peaceful outside. During the day, Lin Xian suppressed the heavens' prides of the various halls and became the most dazzling figure. Naturally, it attracted the dissatisfaction of many people. Among them, the most dissatisfied were Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and the others. Especially Nangong Hao. His lungs were about to explode during the day. Therefore, when night fell, he immediately sent people to investigate Lin Xian and the others. At least, he wanted to feel out the other party's strength. If they were strong, he would think of another way. If they were weak, then they couldn't blame him. he could easily slaughter the other party. Even if the other party's identity was special, he would have a way to resist the anger of the third protector in the future. In the night sky, 5 figures were like ghosts as they shuttled through the ancient city of the Southern Desolation. Soon, they arrived at the Drunken Immortal Inn. Not only that, they immediately locked onto Lin Xian's residence. It seemed that the Divine Pill Hall was really powerful to be able to find Lin Xian's residence so easily. The 5 black-clothed men were all 8th-level honorable realm cultivators. At this moment, the 5 of them looked at each other and then silently charged forward. Their purpose was naturally to test Lin Xian. However, just as they rose into the air, a saber light flashed in the air and quickly enveloped the 5 of them. Then 5 heads flew up and blood spurted out. Their bodies fell to the ground. The eyes of each of the 5 heads were filled with terror because they didn't believe that someone could easily kill all 5 of them with a single move. A figure appeared. It was Luo Bingshan. She slowly put away her treasured saber and waved her hand, clearing away the corpses, heads, and blood. Even the smell of blood in the air was gone. After doing this, Luo Bingshan's figure flashed and disappeared. The whole process was completed in an instant. Therefore, no one in the ancient city of the Southern Desolation knew that a battle had just happened. Not only Nangong Hao, but Blood Hand, Ghostly, and the others also sent people. However, without exception, they were all eliminated by Luo Bingshan. Lin Xian didn't care about what happened outside. This kind of thing didn't require him to do anything. He only needed to patiently cultivate. The night was silent. The next day, the Dark and Light Conference officially began. The streets of the ancient city of the Southern Desolation were filled with disciples of the Black Dragon cult. Both sides of the street were filled with all kinds of stalls. Cultivation techniques, secret manuals, treasures, weapons, defensive equipment, pills, spiritual herbs, and all kinds of things related to cultivation were all taken out for trade. It could be said that this was a grand occasion. The entire ancient city of the Southern Desolation was bustling with noise and excitement. If it was outside, the Black Dragon cult's martial artists would definitely snatch the treasures when they saw so many treasures. They might even kill the owners of the treasures. However, the Dark and Light Conference was hosted by the Black Dragon cult. Therefore, even if the Black Dragon cult's disciples were usually very cruel, they didn't dare to kill people in the ancient city of the Southern Desolation. Moreover, the ancient city of the Southern Desolation also had a rule that no fighting was allowed in the city. This was an iron law that no one dared to violate. There were people who couldn't do it before, but they were all severely punished. Lin Xian also woke up early. He brought Morong Qingcheng, Ruo Bingshan, and the Crimson Dragon out of the restaurant to try their luck. Chapter 1351. Lin Xian also woke up early and brought Morong Qingcheng, Ruo Bingshan, and the Crimson Dragon out of the restaurant to try their luck. In the words of the Crimson Dragon, the Tianan region was not ordinary and could be said to be incomparably mysterious. Perhaps these warriors had some treasures in their hands. Lin Xian also went out with this attitude. This was because in the past, there were some treasures that ordinary warriors did not recognize and even treated as ordinary things. But in the eyes of a true expert, those were priceless treasures. Lin Xian also walked on the street with the 2 beauties. He did not even look at the stalls on both sides. However, his soul power had already swept through quickly. As long as there was a treasure, he would definitely not miss it. This is? Suddenly, Lin Xian stopped in his tracks. The corner of his mouth raised into a smile because he found something special. White bone wood, a very special material. It was one of the materials needed to refine the Red Lotus armor. Lin Xian only found a little bit of it in the Tianmu continent. He did not expect to find it in the Tianan region. It seems that my luck is really good. I did not expect to find white bone would not long after I came out. Lin Xian was very excited. Now that he had refined half of the Red Lotus armor, its power was very obvious. Therefore, he hoped to refine all of the Red Lotus armor, and this white bone wood was the key. Therefore, he had to get it. You brat, did you find something good? Seeing Lin Xian's smile, the Crimson Dragon asked. That's right. It is indeed something good. Lin Xian nodded and walked forward. Finally, he stopped at a stall on the right. How much is this? I want it. Lin Xian pointed at a bone-like object on the ground and said. The stall owner was a young man with fiery red short hair. His eyes were originally closed, and no one knew what he was thinking. However, when he heard Lin Xian's words, he opened his eyes. When he saw Lin Xian, Murong Qingcheng, and Luo Bingshan, he was stunned. Then his eyes shone with a scorching light. You want this? The red-haired youth glanced at the white bone wood on the ground. Yes, Lin Xian nodded. Name your price. The smile on the corners of the red-haired young man's mouth grew wider when he heard this. Although he didn't know what the white bone-like thing on the ground was, judging from the other party's tone, it seemed to be rich and overbearing. Naturally, he had to take advantage of this kind of rich man, 30 million spirit stones, and a half-earth tier cultivation technique, the red-haired youth quickly said. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists' eyelids jumped wildly. They looked at the short-haired youth as if they were looking at an idiot. 30 million spirit stones for a set of half-earth rank cultivation manuals? You dare to ask for such a price? It's not just asking for an exorbitant price. It's as if he wants to eat someone alive. In their opinion, the other party would definitely not agree to this price. On the other hand, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. To be honest, this price was not considered expensive for the real white bone wood. Therefore, when he heard this price, he almost nodded in agreement without hesitation. After all, compared to the white bone wood, spirit stones and half-earth rank cultivation manuals were really nothing to him. All right, I agree to your price. Let's make the deal, Lin Xian said indifferently, as if he was talking about something insignificant. As soon as he said that, the surrounding crowd burst into an uproar. What? Did I hear wrongly? 30 million spirit stones and a half-earth rank cultivation manual? This is really a shocking amount of money. Not only that, it's fine if it's exchanging for a treasure, but what are those white bones? They look like trash. Why would anyone buy them? Could this guy have misjudged? Who knows? With his status, 30 million spirit stones, and a half-earth rank cultivation manual are probably nothing. So what if he misjudged? The crowd discussed animatedly. They were incomparably envious of Lin Xian's generosity. The red-haired youth was also slightly stunned. He did not expect the other party to agree so readily. Could it be that this white bone is really a treasure? He was very puzzled. He did not know what this thing was at all. He did not pay much attention to it before, but now it seemed that it was indeed a treasure. Otherwise, the other party would not spend such a high price to buy it. One had to know that this price was just casually mentioned. He did not expect it to be successful at all. Lin Xian was about to pay when the red-haired youth quickly interrupted. Wait, I've changed my mind. What did you say? Lin Xian stopped what he was doing and frowned. I said, I've changed my mind. 30 million spirit stones and a half-earth rank cultivation manual is too cheap. I want to raise the price. Otherwise, I won't sell this white bone. Hearing this, Lin Xian's face darkened. It seemed that this guy wanted to raise the price. The surrounding crowd also understood what was going on. Then, they looked like they were watching a show. This guy is really ruthless. 30 million spirit stones and a half-earth rank cultivation manual are not enough? He wants to raise the price? Isn't he afraid of dying from overeating? What do you know? The other party agreed. So readily. This means that the white bone is definitely a treasure. He'd be a fool not to raise the price now. However, that guy doesn't look like someone to be trifled with. Don't forget that he was very arrogant when he appeared yesterday. The crowd discussed animatedly. Lin Xian's face darkened. He asked coldly, "What price do you want? This is a special case, but I think you can afford it." The red-haired youth's eyes lit up. Then he stretched out his finger and pointed forward. I want her to accompany me for a night." The red-haired youth pointed at Murong Qingqing and said, "Let her accompany me for a night. Then give me 30 million spirit stones and a half-earth rank cultivation manual. This white bone is yours." What? This guy actually made such a request. He's a kindred spirit. I didn't expect that guy to have such good taste. I'm so envious. That girl in purple is really a peerless beauty. She's even more beautiful than a fairy. This is going to be a good show. The red-haired youth's words caused an uproar among the surrounding martial artists. The whole street was bustling with noise and excitement. Lin Xian's face darkened completely. His eyes flashed with killing intent. Murong Qingqing was his woman. He would not allow anyone to have ideas about her, let alone talk about her like that. Murong Qingqing's face was also cold. As the little princess of the House of Kings, she had never been bullied like this before. If she encountered such a situation outside, she would have slapped the other party to death. However, they were in the southern desolation ancient town now. Moreover, Lin Xian still had a mission. She really could not make a move. However, Lin Xian did not care about this. He would not let the other party go. Let me give you a piece of advice. Quickly kneel down and apologize. Take back what you said just now. Otherwise, I'll let you know what regret is. Lin Xian said coldly. Chapter 1352. What? I can't bear to part with it. The red-haired man laughed. Isn't it just a woman? I'm just playing, not leaving. At worst, I'll return it to you after playing. Ha ha ha. If you don't agree, don't even think about taking this bone away. The red-haired young man was very arrogant. Although his request was somewhat unreasonable, he was not afraid at all because the rules of the dark and light convention stated that fighting was not allowed during the convention. Anyone who fought would end up in an incomparably miserable state. Therefore, he was not worried about his own safety at all. Moreover, he came late, so he did not see Lin Xian's arrival yesterday. Naturally, he did not know Lin Xian's identity. His prediction was good, but it was useless. Hearing this, Lin Xian completely lost control of his killing intent. At this moment, he did not care about the convention's rules at all. He took a step forward, and his right foot quickly kicked forward. This kick was very sudden and incomparably powerful. It carried a terrifying power and dense killing intent. Boom! The red-haired young man's right arm exploded, turning into a bloody mist. His bones shattered all over the ground. Ah! The red-haired young man screamed crazily, covering his wound with a sinister expression. You dare to hurt me? To be honest, he was really stunned because he never thought that the other party would make a move. One had to know that the southern desolate ancient town had rules that fighting was not allowed in the city. This rule was like a heavenly law that no one dared to violate. But now, someone actually dared to make a move on him? You're dead. The red-haired young man roared crazily. Breaking the city's rules. No one can stop you. You should worry about yourself first. Lin Xian's voice was ice cold, like a killing god. His right foot kicked out again. You dare? The red-haired young man's pupils shrank. He did not think that the other party would dare to make a move. The next moment, he roared and retreated, wanting to dodge. However, Lin Xian's kick was too fast. Like lightning, it instantly exploded the other party's left arm again. Bang! Another bloody mist. The stinging smell of blood pervaded the air. No! The red-haired young man screamed, his eyes full of fear. He was scared, really scared, because the other party's strength was stronger than his. and it seemed that he did not care about the rules of the city at all. Especially when he saw the other party's gaze, his heart trembled. His eyes were incomparably cold and filled with intense killing intent. It was even more terrifying than Skyblades. "I was wrong. I want to apologize to you. Please spare me." The red-haired youth began to beg for mercy. "Apologize?" Lin Xian sneered. "You've got the wrong person." Hearing this, the red-haired youth hurriedly crawled to Murong Qingcheng and began to kowtow. "I deserve to die. I was blind. My mouth is cheap. Please, I beg you, spare me." "Humph." Murong Qingcheng snorted coldly. She did not have a good impression of this person. If it wasn't Lin Xian today, but someone else, they would probably end up in a miserable state. Therefore, Murong Qingcheng looked at Lin Xian. It was obvious that she would listen to Lin Xian on this matter. "Now you know you were wrong? It was too late." Lin Xian's voice was cold. "You'll pay for your words." After saying that, the killing intent on his body suddenly erupted. Feeling this aura, the red-haired youth trembled. He knew that the other party wanted to kill him, so he simply threw caution to the wind. "If you kill me, you'll die too. The enforcers will not let you go." Boom. However, what answered him was an extremely terrifying kick. The red-haired youth's head suddenly exploded like a watermelon. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, splattering on the faces of the surrounding people. The headless corpse that was sitting cross-legged also fell with a loud bang. Then Lin Xian stepped on it, crushing it into pieces. Flesh and blood splattered everywhere, and the pungent smell of blood instantly spread out. The surrounding people were completely stunned. They did not expect that someone would dare to kill someone on the street, and in such a cruel way. Did he not know the rules of the Dark and Light Conference? Crazy, he's crazy. He actually dares to kill someone on the street. That kid is dead. Even if his identity is special, no one can save him. Arrogant, he's too arrogant. Yesterday, they thought that he was already extremely arrogant. They did not expect him to be even more arrogant today. He actually killed someone on the street. Everyone went crazy. They looked at Lin Xian with faces full of shock. The red-haired youth's head exploded, and his body was torn into pieces. Even if he died, he would not believe that someone dared to kill him on the street without any hesitation. Murong Qingcheng sighed. However, looking at Lin Xian's side profile, her heart felt warm. She knew that all of this was because of her. The reason why Lin Xian broke the rules of the Dark and Light Conference was because he cared about her. Therefore, no matter what danger there was, she would face it together with Lin Xian. Lin Xian's expression was cold, and killing intent surrounded his body. The other party dared to have ideas about Murong Qingcheng. Killing him like this was too easy. With a wave of his hand, he grabbed the white bone wood on the ground and put it into his storage ring. The next moment, he turned around and prepared to leave with his people. However, things were not that simple. The surrounding crowd suddenly dispersed, and a group of martial artists wearing black armor quickly rushed over. "What's going on? Who dares to cause trouble in the Southern Desolation ancient city?" A fierce voice sounded, intimidating everyone. This was the law enforcement team of the Southern Desolation ancient city, used to maintain the stability of the entire ancient city. Normally, they would not do anything because no one dared to break the rules of the Southern Desolation ancient city. This was the first time, so they were very angry and decided to punish the person who did it. "Boy, did you kill him?" The leader of the law enforcement team was a middle-aged man. His cold eyes stared at Lin Xian. In his eyes, there was a trace of killing intent. It was reasonable to say that even the members of the law enforcement team would not have killing intent. At most, they would be angry. However, the killing intent in the other party's eyes was indeed hard to understand. In fact, if it was an older generation figure, they would be able to understand, because it was very normal. The person who died was a disciple of the Azura Hall, Although this middle-aged man was now a member of the law enforcement team, he used to be from the Azura Hall. Therefore, at this moment, when he saw Lin Xian kill a disciple of the Azura Hall, he had such killing intent. "I killed him." Lin Xian nodded, expressionless. "It's good that you admit it. Men, take him away." The man said coldly. However, Lin Xian frowned. "Don't you want to know why I killed him?" "I don't need to know. I only need to know that you killed someone and broke the rules of the Southern Desolation ancient city. According to the rules, I need to arrest you and punish you." The man's voice was cold and merciless. The surrounding crowd was shocked, and many people were puzzled. They could not understand why the man's words were filled with killing intent. It can't be, right? Even if that boy killed someone, he is the disciple of the third guardian. It is reasonable to say that the law enforcement team should not treat him like this. What do you know? The one who died was a disciple of the Azura Hall, and the captain of the law enforcement team, Hu Cheng, used to be from the Azura Hall. You say he doesn't have killing intent? What? Captain Hu Cheng used to be from the Azura Hall? I really don't know. Chapter 1353. Updated. Isn't this great? Please subscribe. Please support. Looks like that kid is going to be unlucky. Although he's the disciple of the third guardian, the Southern Wind ancient town has strict rules. Anyone who violates the rules will be punished. And this kid killed someone on the street. I guess he'll be severely punished. Yeah, maybe his cultivation will be crippled. Everyone was discussing. At this moment, 2 black-armored martial artists walked out from the law enforcement team and quickly grabbed Lin Xian. Lin Xian shouted coldly, "Get lost! For the sake of the law enforcement team, I won't kill you. If you dare to provoke me again, don't blame me for being impolite and killing you all." He was not a member of the Black Dragon sect, so he had no scruples at this moment. Others were afraid of the law enforcement hall, but he was not. Therefore, an invisible force surged out of his body and quickly rushed forward. In the next moment, the 2 law enforcement martial artists were forced to retreat. Lin Xian had held back. Otherwise, the 2 of them would have been split open and turned into a bloody mist. "How dare you? This is the Southern Desolation ancient town. No matter who you are, you can't be presumptuous here." Captain Hu Cheng shouted coldly. "Men, take him down with all your might." Immediately, the law enforcement team behind him rushed toward Lin Xian. These people were very powerful. They were all 8th Heaven Venerables. At this moment, they attacked with all their might, and their speed was extremely fast. Even the surrounding martial artists did not see what was going on. However, although they could not see any trace of the law enforcement team, these people were extremely shocked. It's over. This kid has completely angered the law enforcement team. He's too arrogant. Although he's the disciple of the third guardian, he can't be so presumptuous. This time, he's dead for sure. Sigh, he's too young. It's his first time here. He definitely doesn't know the rules of the Southern Desolation ancient town. Yeah, in the past, there were also young geniuses who were arrogant and unruly. They thought that their talent was outstanding and did not care about the rules here. But in the end, they were the unlucky ones. Not only would their cultivation be crippled, but they would also never be put in an important position by the Black Dragon sect. Hee, it's even better if this guy is unlucky. Who asked him to be so arrogant yesterday? Humph. Even if he managed to evade the enforcers, the Azura Hall will not let him off. Those fellows are a bunch of lunatics. Forget about the disciple of the third protector. Even if it was the third protector, the Azura Hall would probably go crazy and kill him. The group of people shook their heads and sneered. They all believed that Lin Xian was dead for sure. But in the next moment, they were stunned. Because the situation in the field had changed drastically. More than a dozen law enforcement team marshalists rushed towards Lin Xian like lightning, arriving in front of Lin Xian in an instant. Their hands were like cold steel as they quickly grabbed at Lin Xian, wanting to take him down. However, Lin Xian had a look of disdain on his face as he casually extended his palm and slapped forward. Pa! The law enforcer in front of him was instantly sent flying. It was as easy as swatting a fly. Bang! The law enforcer's body spun 360 degrees in the air before landing heavily on the ground. His teeth were all broken. And this was still Lin Xian holding back. Otherwise, that slap would have been enough to explode the law enforcer's head. And after this person, the remaining dozen law enforcement team marshalists were all sent flying. These people had come like lightning and left even faster. Each of them was like a cannonball as they landed heavily on the ground. Their faces were swollen like pig heads. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and was stunned on the spot. The law enforcement team was actually defeated, and they were all sent flying in an instant. But how is this possible? Everyone was in disbelief. One had to know that those who could become the law enforcement team of the Southern Desolation ancient city were all extremely powerful existences. However, more than a dozen 8th level venerables were actually sent flying in an instant. This was really hard for them to believe. Perhaps only the most elite marshalists could do this. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian with deep fear in their eyes. This was because they now knew that Lin Xian was definitely not weaker than Nangong Hao Bloodhand and the others. Previously, everyone was afraid because of his identity, but it was different now. These people's gazes changed because they realized that the other party was a true powerhouse. Even if he wasn't the disciple of the third guardian, with his courage and insight, not many people would dare to provoke him. Everyone was stunned. Judging from his strength, he was definitely a 9th level venerable. Only a 9th level venerable could send the law enforcement team flying so easily. The law enforcement team marshalists who were sent flying struggled to stand up, but their bodies were in extreme pain. There was even a cold aura flowing in their bodies, making them unable to gather spirit power. What kind of technique was this? Everyone looked at Lin Xian in horror. You dare to hit the law enforcement team? You're courting death. The law enforcement team leader, Hu Cheng, had a ferocious expression. In the next moment, he roared and circulated all the strength in his body, quickly charging towards Lin Xian. Roaring tiger fist, Hu Cheng's palm transformed into a ferocious tiger, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It quickly enveloped Lin Xian, wanting to destroy him. Lin Xian snorted coldly and quickly formed a seal with his palm. Immediately, the figure of Qiongqi appeared. Not only that, but Qiongqi's body was also covered with a blue aura that was extremely cold. Qiongqi roared angrily and with its huge body fiercely collided with the tiger fist in front of it. Flying, crack, that terrifying force directly broke Hu Cheng's entire arm. Poof! Hu Cheng's body was sent flying and heavily crashed into the building behind him. His right arm hung limply by his side. Everyone was stunned. They didn't expect that even the law enforcement team captain was no match for Lin Xian. Hu Cheng held his right arm and looked forward in horror. He didn't expect the young man in front of him to be so terrifying that he could defeat him with a single punch. Who exactly are you? Hu Cheng's expression was ferocious as he gritted his teeth and asked, Don't you think it's too late to ask who I am now? Lin Xian sneered, then took out a black token. The third guardian. When Hu Cheng saw the picture on the token, his pupils constricted. He didn't expect the young man in front of him to be related to the third guardian. At the thought of this, cold sweat began to drip down his body. Reckless. He was too reckless. Previously, when the Shura Hall members were killed, he lost his mind and didn't ask about the investigation, let alone find out the identity of the other party. Now, it seemed that things were going to be difficult. Not to mention the other party's identity, the law enforcement team couldn't take him down based on his strength alone. They didn't even have the face to stay here. Lin Xian looked at the wailing law enforcement team on the ground and shook his head slightly. Then he turned around and said to Murong, Qingcheng, and the others, "Let's go." The group turned around and prepared to leave. However, Huicheng was anxious. He stomped his feet and wanted to stop Lin Xian, but he didn't dare. However, he couldn't let Lin Xian leave just like that. One had to know that Lin Xian killed people on the street and violated the rules of the Southern Desolation ancient city. The law enforcement team had to capture him. If he didn't do anything, he would definitely be punished by the higher-ups. However, he couldn't defeat the other party, so he was in a dilemma. Chapter 1354. A New Day. Continue to explode. Please vote. Please support. Please subscribe. My name is Hua Wufeng. I live in the Drunken Immortal Inn. If anyone is unhappy with me, tell them to come find me. Lin Xian said, then left with Murong Qingcheng and the others. Behind them, Huicheng opened his mouth, but no words came out. He knew that with their current strength, there was no way they could stop Hua Wufeng. If they went up, they would only be humiliating themselves. Captain, are we just going to watch that kid leave? The other enforcers got up from the ground and said unwillingly, "What else can we do? Are we going to catch him?" Hua Cheng snorted. "Forget it. That person is not someone we can mess with. Let's report this to the higher-ups and let them handle it." With that, Hua Cheng's face darkened as he led the enforcers away. After the enforcers left, the entire street was in an uproar. Shock. It was simply too shocking. There was someone who killed someone on the street and was not punished. Not only that, even the enforcers could not do anything about it. This was definitely the first time since the Dark Light Conference was held. This Hua Wufeng is too scary. I didn't expect him to be so strong. Yeah, he's definitely on par with those top prodigies. Looks like there's going to be a good show in this Dark Light Conference. Everyone was discussing excitedly. In a VIP room in the Drunken Immortal Inn, 2 elders, a middle-aged man, and a middle-aged woman were gathered together to discuss something. Beside them, there was a beautiful maid waiting on them. "Gentlemen, try the spiritual tea of the Drunken Immortal Inn. It's of the highest quality. You guys from the Shura Hall, don't just fight and kill. Sit down and drink tea when you're free." The middle-aged woman smiled as she poured tea. It turned out that the other 3 were the elders of the Shura Hall. These people all had red hair, and a wild aura emanated from their bodies. It seemed that they had cultivated a very domineering technique to change their hair color. "Elder Xiugu, Elder Xioda, and Elder Xiumu, please have some tea." The middle-aged man and the 2 elders took the spiritual tea, tasted it, and nodded. "That's right. The spirit tea of the Drunken Immortal Inn is indeed of the highest quality." The middle-aged man, Elder Xiugu, nodded slightly. However, at this moment, a series of hurried footsteps came from outside, followed by a voice. "Elder, this is bad. Bad news." That voice sounded very urgent. Hearing that, the middle-aged woman in the VIP room frowned, and the faces of the other 3 Azura Hall elders sank. Among them, Elder Xiugu shouted, "What are you panicking for? Why are you making a fuss over nothing?" He did not want others to think that their Azura Hall was filled with such useless people. However, the disciple outside didn't leave. He still said anxiously, "Elders, something bad has happened. Just now, Senior Brother Luo Zhang was beaten to death on the street." What? Hearing those words, the 3 elders of the Azura Hall could no longer sit still and immediately stood up. The berserk aura instantly erupted and blasted out in all directions. Fortunately, as a top-notch restaurant, the Drunken Immortal Inn possessed a powerful defensive formation that was able to block the aura. Otherwise, This aura alone would be enough to raise the entire restaurant to the ground. Come in and tell me what happened. Elder Xiaogu's expression was cold. Yes. Soon, the Azura Hall disciple from outside entered the VIP room, knelt on the ground, and quickly reported, just now, a person called Hua Wufeng directly beat senior brother Luo Jiang to death on the street. Why did he do it? Elder Xiao Da asked coldly. I don't know. That person knelt on the ground and quickly shook his head. However, Elder Xiao Mu coldly snorted, don't care about the reason. He actually dared to beat someone from our Azura Hall to death. Did the enforcers not do anything? The enforcers came, led by Captain Huacheng, but it was useless, that disciple quickly said. All of the enforcers, including Captain Huacheng, were injured by that person called Hua Wufeng. What? You're saying that the brat even injured the enforcers? Hearing that, the expressions of the three elders of the Azura Hall changed. They did not expect that the other party would be so arrogant. Not only did he dare to kill someone on the street, he even injured the enforcers. This was something that they had never even dreamed of. What happened after that? Did the enforcers let that arrogant brat leave? Elder Xiaogu asked in a deep voice. Yes, the brat left a message and left. The enforcers did not do anything. The disciple kneeling on the ground said, What message? The three elders asked. In unison, he said that his name is Hua Wufeng, and that he lives in the Drunken Immortal Inn. Regarding this matter, if anyone is unhappy and wants to find him, they can come. You're courting death. Arrogant. You've gone too far. The three elders of the Azura Hall were furious. They did not expect that someone would dare to start a fight in the Southern Desolation ancient town. Moreover, his attitude was extremely arrogant. He did not put the Azura Hall in his eyes at all. Hua Wufeng, right? I'll let you know that the disciples of the Azura Hall are not that easy to kill. No matter who he is, he dared to kill someone from the Azura Hall. This time, we'll teach him a lesson. You're saying that he lives in the Drunken Immortal Inn? I'd like to see who he is to be so arrogant. The three elders of the Azura Hall looked ferocious as they prepared to attack that person called Hua Wufeng. They had no choice but to take action. The other party was too arrogant. He had killed someone from the Azura Hall on the street. If they did not step in, they would definitely be mocked by the other halls. Capture that kid. I can't do it. What can he do? The three of them left quickly and headed outside with murderous intent. However, the street outside was not calm at all. Originally, everyone thought that the matter would be over after the enforcement team left. However, they did not expect that there would be another change on the way. A group of martial artists with blood-red hair had cold expressions and murderous intent in their eyes. They quickly came to the street and surrounded Ling Xian and the others. When the crowd saw the group of people with blood-red hair, they were shocked. The Azura Hall. They were from the Azura Hall. The Azura Hall's martial arts were too brutal. Hence, their hair was blood-red, and they were very recognizable. At this moment, there were more than 20 disciples of the Azura Hall surrounding Lin Xian and the others. The atmosphere was very tense. A huge battle was about to break out. The surrounding martial artists found a safe place and prepared to watch the battle. Some of them did not know what had happened earlier. When they saw the scene, they were extremely shocked. Are these people crazy? How dare they fight in the Southern Desolation ancient city? Don't they know the rules of the ancient city? Someone was puzzled. However, the person beside him said, Damn, brother, don't you know? That young man just now killed a member of the Azura Hall on the street. Now that the Azura Hall is here for revenge, it's natural. What? Someone killed someone on the street, and he killed someone from the Azura Hall? Chapter 1355. F***CK. Brother, don't you know? That young man killed a member of the Azura Hall on the street. It's only natural that the Azura Hall would come for revenge. What? Someone killed someone on the street, and he killed a member of the Azura Hall? The new martial artists were shocked. They did not expect someone to be so bold. The members of the Azura Hall were all madmen. They were all cruel and could not bear to be taken advantage of. Yet someone dared to provoke them. Not only that, the Azura Hall and the Blood Fiend Hall had a very good relationship because of their similar cultivation techniques. Angering the Azura Hall was equivalent to angering the Blood Fiend Hall. The Blood Fiend Hall was an even more terrifying existence. Their first division leader, Shui Gaoshu, was a battle maniac. There were very few people in the younger generation who could compete with Shui Gaoshu. Even the older generation might not be able to defeat him. Therefore, they were shocked when they learned that someone had provoked the Azura Hall. I just came from the Drunken Immortal Inn. I heard that the 3 elders of the Azura Hall have also received the news and are rushing over. What? Even the elders of the Azura Hall know? Looks like this is really troublesome. That kid is definitely dead. Not necessarily. The other party's identity is not simple. I don't think his life is in danger, but he will definitely be tortured. It's very possible. After all, the members of the Azura Hall are all madmen. They won't give face to anyone. However, some people still did not believe it. No way, are you crazy? Do you really think they would dare to attack on the street? I'm afraid that the law enforcement team will be the first to destroy them. However, many of the people around them had complicated expressions. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I say something wrong? Or did I say something wrong? The disciple felt his hair stand on end. However, the surrounding martial artists did not answer. Instead, they all sighed heavily. The surrounding people discussed animatedly. The situation on the street ahead was even more tense. The members of the Azura Hall surrounded Lin Xian. Their expressions were ferocious, and they wanted to tear him apart. Kid, you dare to kill members of the Azura Hall? Kneel down and accept your death. Kid, break your arms and kneel before the Azura Hall. Then I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you know what it means to wish you were dead. The group of Azura Hall martial artists glared at Lin Xian and roared with all their might. Those who dare to provoke my Azura Hall can only atone for their crimes with death. Kill him. Avenge our Azura Hall disciples. Looking at the scene around him, Lin Xian sneered. To be honest, he really didn't care about these people. If they dared to make a move, he didn't mind sending them on their way. On the side, the Crimson Dragon said impatiently, "Boy, hurry up and kill these flies. They're so annoying." However, at this moment, a cold shout suddenly came from afar. It was like thunder, exploding in the sky. The energy contained within was extremely terrifying, causing the ears of the surrounding cultivators to tremble and their bodies to tremble. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked ahead. The next moment, the crowd in front of him dispersed, and 3 figures quickly walked over. The 3 of them were brimming with murderous intent. Their aura materialized and circled around them. It was as if they had come from the Azura Hell. Seeing the 3 figures, the surrounding cultivators held their breaths. They knew that the 3 elders of the Azura Hall had finally arrived. When the Azura Hall disciples saw the 3 figures, they were ecstatic. They shouted, "Elder, it's this boy. He's the one who killed our Azura Hall disciples. Elder, you must kill this boy and avenge senior brother Luo Zhang." Hearing this, the 3 elders nodded their heads heavily. "Don't worry. No one dares to kill our Azura Hall disciples. I'll make him pay a painful price," Elder Xiaomu said coldly. Elder Xiaogu took a step forward and stared coldly at Lin Xian. "You're the one who killed our Azura Hall disciples?" His voice was filled with boundless, murderous intent, causing the surrounding space to distort. "If you're talking about that trash, I'm the one who killed him." Lin Xian nodded. not caring at all. You're courting death. Hearing Lin Xian's words, Elder Shogu was even more exposed. His eyes were bloodshot, and a terrifying murderous aura surged around him. If that's the case, go to hell. As he spoke, he had already raised his right hand. Countless blood-red lights surrounded his palm, and a terrifying aura filled the air. He was about to throw a punch. However, at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and blocked Elder Shogu's path. In the next moment, a calm voice sounded. Elder Shogu, please stop. This is the matter of our enforcers. Let us handle it. A majestic voice sounded in the air. Then everyone was shocked and looked forward. Elder Shogu was also stunned. However, when he saw the person in front of him, he slowly lowered his hand. Elder Linghu. Elder Shogu looked solemn as he looked at the gray-robed elder in front of him. Since Elder Linghu has personally taken action, I naturally have to respect it. However, this little thief killed our Azura Hall disciples on the street. I hope Elder Linghu will give us an explanation. Otherwise, this matter won't end so easily. Elder Linghu nodded slightly. Don't worry. The ancient city of the Southern Desolation has its own rules. No matter who it is, even the Hall Master must abide by the rules. Since he has broken the rules, he must be punished accordingly. You Azura Hall can rest assured about this. Since the other party had said so, the three elders of the Azura Hall had no reason to take action. They led the disciples of the Azura Hall to the side and watched quietly. Although they couldn't kill the other party with their own hands, they could still vent their anger by watching the other party being punished with their own eyes. Elder Linghu turned around and stared at Lin Xian. He said in a deep voice, You're Hua Wufeng? I didn't do it. It's me. Lin Xian still looked calm, as if he didn't care about the punishment that was about to come. Seeing his expression, Elder Linghu's eyes flickered with a hint of surprise. However, soon after, he said in a deep voice, Although Luo Jiang was the one who started it and humiliated the people around you, you can't kill him. After all, this punishment is too heavy for Luo Jiang. However, since you have broken the rules of the ancient city of the Southern Desolation, you must be punished accordingly. Therefore, you will have to pay 50 million spiritual stones as compensation. Moreover, we will take you away and lock you up for 3 days so that you can reflect on your actions. Compensation? Hearing this, Lin Xian smiled and narrowed his eyes. The other party's way of handling things was beyond his expectations. On the other hand, the people of the Azura Hall were stunned. Elder Linghu, what did you say? 50 million spiritual stones? 3 days of confinement? Are you sure you're not mistaken? He killed our Azura Hall disciples on the street. How can this be the only punishment? Chapter 1356. The people from the Azura Hall were stunned. Elder Linghu, what did you say? 50 million yuan? He'll be grounded for 3 days. Are you sure you're not mistaken? He killed someone from the Azura Hall on the street. How can that be the only punishment? We must cripple his martial arts and expel him from the Black Dragon sect. To be honest, the people from the Azura Hall were stunned, especially the 3 elders. They were so angry that their bodies were trembling. They did not expect the enforcers to make such a decision in the end. Was this not a slap to the Azura Hall's face? The surrounding disciples of the Black Dragon sect were dumbfounded. They could not believe the result of the punishment. Elder Shou Da's expression was also gloomy. He said coldly, Elder Linghu, if I remember correctly, the punishment for killing someone on the street in the southern wilderness should be to cripple his cultivation and expel him from the Black Dragon sect. I don't know if I'm wrong? Elder Shogu snorted coldly. Elder Linghu, is this the explanation you're giving to the Azura Hall? What a joke. Then, the disciples of the Azura Hall glared at the scene in front of them angrily. Seeing the Azura Hall's attitude, Elder Linghu's expression also darkened. He said coldly, May I ask the three elders of the Azura Hall if you know the other party's identity? Do you know why he killed Luo Jiang? Hearing that, the three elders were speechless. To be honest, they really did not know, but so what if they knew? They did not want a reason. They wanted the other party to die. As expected, you don't know? Elderling who sighed and said in a deep voice, let's put it this way. Luo Jiang from the Azura Hall was obsessed and wanted to lay his hands on a woman next to the other party. In the end, he got himself into trouble and was killed. Hearing that, the three elders of the Azura Hall frowned. Was that the reason? What was that? If the Azura Hall took a fancy to a woman, it was reasonable even if they openly snatched her. However, in the next moment, Elderling Hu's words stunned the three of them. This was because Elderling Hu said slowly, the other party's name is Hua Wufeng. He's the disciple of the third guardian. Moreover, according to our calculations, his strength has reached the 9th heaven of the venerable state. He can be said to be a top genius. Do you think that such a person can endure Luo Jiang's provocation? 9th heaven venerable, a young heaven's pride. Which one of them isn't arrogant and unruly? Besides, it was Luo Jiang's fault to begin with. Therefore, there is no problem with my punishment. To be honest, the three elders of the Azura Hall were indeed stunned. They hadn't expected the other party to be so powerful. He was actually a 9th level venerable. Furthermore, what shocked them even more was the other party's identity. The other party turned out to be the disciple of the third protector. This identity was indeed a little tricky. Therefore, in the next moment, they subconsciously looked at Lin Xian. However, when they saw the disdainful smile on Lin Xian's face, they were instantly enraged. His anger rose to his head and burned his brain. I'm going to die from anger. I'm really going to die from anger. Elder Shogu was so angry that his whole body was trembling. His hair was standing up and his eyes were red. As for the two elders beside him, they were also fuming with anger. You're going too far. Do you really think that there's no one in my Azura Hall? They were really mad. One had to know that they cultivated the Azura technique. It was incomparably violent and unrestrained. At this moment, they were blinded by hatred and had lost their minds. Therefore, they no longer cared about the third protector's disciple. They were all glaring fiercely at Lin Xian. No, I don't care who he is. Since he has broken the rules, he must die. Hearing this, Elderling Hu frowned. To be honest, this scene was within his expectations because the other party was from the Azura Hall. Speaking of which, he was most afraid of dealing with people from the Azura Hall because they were complete lunatics. They were not from the Blood Fiend Hall. Although the Blood Fiend Hall was involved in killing, they were still clear-headed. However, once the people from the Azura Hall went crazy, they would not even recognize their own family. Not to mention that the other party was the third protector's disciple. Even if the other party was the third protector, these people would probably charge forward and fight with their lives. Since he knew the Azura Hall's temper, he naturally had a way to deal with it. He said in a low voice again, "It seems that the three of you don't agree with the punishment of the enforcers. What kind of punishment is this?" The Azura Hall doesn't agree with it at all. Elder Shogu said coldly. Indeed, he could not agree with it. If he admitted it this time, the Azura Hall would not be able to raise its head in the Black Dragon sect anymore. At the side, Elder Shioda said, "Elderling Hu, your enforcers only care about the third protector's face. Have you ever thought about the Azura Hall's face? If we admit defeat today, where will the Azura Hall's face go?" That's right. Aren't your enforcers working together with the third protector to slap the Azura Hall's face? Elder Shiomu's face was also gloomy. Indeed, they could not tolerate it. If no one knew about this, they would have let it go this time. However, now that the whole city knew about it, the Azura Hall naturally could not let it go so easily. They had to severely punish the other party. This was the only way to preserve the Azura Hall's face. This way, no one would dare to provoke the Azura Hall in the future. Hearing this, Elder Linghu sighed. I know you don't agree, because you don't want to embarrass the Azura Hall. How about this? I'll give the Azura Hall some face. What do you think? I'll ask Hua Wufeng to apologize to the Azura Hall. That should satisfy you, right? Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked. Indeed, by doing so, they had truly given the Azura Hall enough face. That was because Hua Wufeng's identity and status were both top-notch. Asking him to apologize was definitely giving the Azura Hall a lot of face. However, the three elders of the Azura Hall had already lost their minds in anger. Their eyes were bloodshot, and they could not listen to anything. He can apologize, but he must kneel and apologize. Kneel and apologize. Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded. Even Elder Linghu frowned. Asking Hua Wufeng to apologize was giving the Azura Hall face. However, asking him to kneel and apologize was not just giving the Azura Hall face. This was a slap to the third protector's face. How could the third protector agree to something like this? However, seeing the three elders of the Azura Hall go crazy, Elder Linghu knew that they would not listen to any advice. Therefore, he could only sigh and step aside. Since the Azura Hall does not agree with the punishment for this matter, then I'll leave it to the two of you to settle it yourselves. However, I don't want any more murders to happen. He really had no other choice. The Azura Hall was a bunch of lunatics who would not listen to advice. On the other hand, Hua Wufeng's identity was special, so he could not forcefully stop him. Therefore, he could only leave it to the two of them to settle it. Moreover, he believed that with him present there would not be any accidents. No matter who was at a disadvantage, it would have nothing to do with the enforcement team. Seeing Elder Linghu step aside, Xiugu and the others snorted. They did not expect the enforcement team to help them. As long as they did not stop them, it would be a very good outcome. In the end, his eyes were bloodshot as he stared ahead. Brat, how dare you kill a disciple of the Azura Hall? Today, you must kneel and apologize. Kneel and apologize. Kneel and apologize to a disciple of the Azura Hall. Brat, I advise you to do as you're told. Otherwise, you'll end up in a terrible state. Chapter 1357. Kid, how dare you kill a disciple of the Azura Hall? You must kneel down and apologize today. Kneel down and apologize. Kneel down to a disciple of the Azura Hall. Kid, I advise you to do as you're told. Otherwise, you'll end up in a terrible state. The three elders of the Azura Hall looked ferocious like demons. They quickly walked forward and surrounded Lin Xian. As for the Azura Hall's disciples behind him, they followed closely behind him. As for the surrounding cultivators, they continuously moved backwards to create sufficient space for them. However, they did not leave. Instead, they watched the battle anxiously. Beside them, Elder Linghu's eyes flickered. He secretly channeled his spiritual energy. If the situation went beyond his expectations, he would stop it immediately. Looking at the aggressive Azura Hall disciples, Lin Xian threw his head back and laughed. Kneel down and apologize? Not bad. That's a good suggestion. I agree. What? Hearing that, the surrounding people were stunned. He agrees? How is that possible? Kneeling down and apologizing was extremely humiliating. It was even more humiliating than death. However, the other party had agreed. The elders of the Azura Hall were stunned at first. Then they laughed ferociously. Kid, at least you know what's good for you. Humph, now you know how powerful the Azura Hall is. Even Elder Linghu was stunned. He did not expect the other party to agree. Could it be that Hua Wufeng is really just a pushover? However, in the next moment, everyone was stunned, because Lin Xian's black hair was flying in the wind, and his expression was arrogant. He said coldly, I'm not the one who wants to kneel. It's you. He pointed at the people of the Azura Hall. If the three of you kneel down and apologize to me, I'll let you go. Otherwise, I'll destroy the Azura Hall. What? He wants the Azura Hall to kneel down and apologize? Everyone's mind went blank. They felt that their brains were not enough. The plot twist was too fast. I knew it. That kid is so arrogant. How could he kneel down and apologize? Arrogant. He's too arrogant. He killed the people of the Azura Hall and wants them to kneel down and apologize. What a savage. It's over. Back off. Back off. Those lunatics from the Azura Hall will definitely go crazy. Don't hurt the innocent. The Azura Hall had indeed gone mad. They had never expected that the other party would actually want them to kneel and apologize. Brat, what did you say? You want us to kneel down and apologize? Elder Shiogu's expression was ferocious, and the aura on his body was extremely violent. You're courting death. Elder Shioda gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. Although Elder Shiomu didn't say anything, the killing intent on his body was like a wild blade that wanted to tear apart the vault of heaven. The Azura Hall disciples behind him were also glaring furiously. As long as the elder gave the order, they would definitely charge forward like crazy. Lin Xian paid no heed to the Azura Hall that was about to go berserk. He sneered. What? You're not satisfied with kneeling? All right, I'll tell you why I want you to kneel. First of all, your Azura Hall's disciple actually dared to humiliate my woman. Naturally, he has committed a capital offense. It is only right for me to kill him. Originally, this matter was already settled, but you three old farts actually came to stop me? You've wasted my time. You deserve to die. Do you know how precious my time is? You've actually wasted it. If it weren't for the enforcement team, I would have already killed all of you. Now, I'm only asking you to kneel down and apologize. I'm already giving you face. Are you still not satisfied? Lin Xian's voice was cold, and his words were filled with insolence. This time, Lin Xian wasn't deliberately looking for trouble. He was really angry, so the other party had to kneel down and apologize to him. You've gone too far. Brat, you're too arrogant. Elder Shiogu was extremely ferocious. So what if you're the third guardian's disciple? Today, I'll teach you a good lesson. I'll let you know how to respect your elders. Elder Shioda's entire body trembled. Elder Shiomu's expression was even crazier. He roared, Brat, go to hell. Then, like a bolt of lightning, he dashed forward at high speed. Elder Shiogu and Elder Shioda also moved. The three of them joined forces and quickly charged toward Lin Xian. The three of them were all at the early stage of the 9th rank. At this moment, they attacked with all their strength, and their momentum was extremely terrifying. The entire street was enveloped by an invisible force. The air condensed, and everyone felt as if they were suffocating. 9th rank venerables were existences that they looked up to. At this moment, 3 9th rank venerables attacked, and their power was definitely beyond imagination. The entire southern wasteland ancient city activated a defensive array at the first moment. Mysterious inscriptions flickered on the streets to protect them. Otherwise, just the aura of the 3 people would be enough to destroy the entire ancient city. Seeing that the defensive array had been activated, the 3 elders of the Azura Hall attacked even more recklessly. Their violent aura connected heaven and earth, forming a large demonic cloud that covered the sky. Brat, go to hell. Azura demon slaughtering fist. Elder Shiomu was the first to attack, so he was also the first to arrive at Lin Xian's side. His entire right arm was wrapped in terrifying demonic patterns, and it emitted a shocking killing intent. A terrifying power surged out with his fist and fiercely blasted forward. The void shattered, and the earth trembled. The entire southern wasteland ancient city shook slightly. This was still the defensive state of the array. Otherwise, this punch would definitely split the entire southern wasteland ancient city in half. Azura demon slaughtering fist? This is the ultimate technique of the Azura Hall. I didn't expect him to use it so quickly. It seemed that the people of the Azura Hall were really crazy. It's over. It's over. The Azura demon slaughtering fist is extremely terrifying. I'm afraid no one in the same realm can resist it. Although that Hua Wufeng is also a 9th rank Venerables, I'm afraid he can't block this punch, right? This punch shocked many people. They didn't expect the people of the Azura Hall to use their ultimate technique right from the start. For a moment, everyone's hearts were in their mouths. However, Lin Xian's face was filled with disdain. The power of the opponent's punch had only increased by 3 times. It should be an Earth rank martial art. Even if it was an Earth rank martial art, he wouldn't be afraid at all. Therefore, in the next moment, he sneered and quickly circulated the Furious Dragon art in his body. Furious Dragon Fist. Lin Xian didn't use his martial soul. He only used the strength of his physical body to throw out this punch. Instantly, his chi and blood surged like a vast ocean, and a terrifying power quickly surged out. The power of this punch was too terrifying. When it hit the air, it directly let out a deep dragon's roar, as if a huge dragon was charging out. Boom! Elder Xiao Mu's Azura demon slaughtering fist was instantly shattered. Not only that, the violent power sent him flying. Boom! 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 6 houses were destroyed in a row before Elder Xiao Mu fell into a pile of ruins. Seeing the scene, everyone's mouths were wide open. They didn't dare to believe it. They didn't expect Elder Xiao Mu to be defeated in one move. Moreover, it was under the circumstances of using his ultimate technique. This was too unbelievable. Chapter 1358. Boom, 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 boom. After destroying 6 houses in a row, Old Man Xiao Mu finally collapsed in the midst of the ruins. Looking at this scene, everyone opened their mouths wide in disbelief. They did not expect Elder Xiao Mu to be defeated in one move. Furthermore, he had used his ultimate technique. This was too inconceivable. Even Elderling Hu's eyes narrowed, and his expression turned solemn. To be honest, he did not think Lin Xian would win. He knew the Azura Hall's strength. He thought that once the 3 from the Azura Hall had vented their anger, and Lin Xian was injured, he would end the fight at the critical moment. That would be the end of it. However, he did not expect Elder Xiao Mu from the Azura Hall to be sent flying in an instant. That was beyond his expectations. What shocked him even more was the 6 houses that had been destroyed. The entire southern wilderness ancient town was enveloped by a defensive formation. Even the houses were extremely sturdy. An ordinary 9th heaven supremacy might not be able to break them. Yet now, that person had smashed apart 6 houses. One could well imagine how terrifying that person's strength was. How could Hua Wufeng be so powerful? He was probably comparable to a 9th heaven supremacy in the middle stage. Elderling Hu's eyelids twitched as he looked ahead. Elder Xiao Gu and Elder Xiao Da's eyes narrowed. They did not believe that Hua Wufeng could succeed in one move. It seemed that they had completely underestimated Hua Wufeng's strength. Don't hesitate. Let's attack together. Elder Xiao Gu roared. Then, the 2 of them exploded with unparalleled strength. Azura Spear. Elder Xiao Gu's demonic aura surged and formed a black spear in the air. Demonic runes were engraved on it, and it emitted a terrifying power. In the next moment, he held the spear with both hands and stabbed it forward. Boom. The spear was extremely terrifying. It was as if it had turned into a black, demonic dragon. It roared in the air and caused the space in front of it to collapse. The terrifying power enveloped Lin Xian. Demon-slaying saber. Elder Xiao Da also took out a treasured saber and quickly slashed it forward. The two elders worked together. Their power was 3 times stronger than Elder Xiaomu's. One could imagine that there was absolutely no one in the same level who could withstand it. Lin Xian still sneered disdainfully. In the next moment, he shouted coldly, and the raging dragon incantation in his body circulated crazily. Vigorous qi and blood surged and rushed into the sky, forming a blood dragon in the sky and quickly circling above his head. Elder Linghu was shocked when he saw this terrifying scene. He had never seen someone with such powerful qi and blood. This was definitely beyond his understanding. "Get lost!" Lin Xian roared as he punched out with both of his fists. Pung! An earth-shattering collision sound rang out as invisible waves rapidly spread out in all directions. This collision was too terrifying, causing many of the surrounding martial artists to bleed from their ears. Some of the weaker ones even fainted from the impact. In the sky, the Azura spear condensed from demonic qi was shattered by this punch, turning into countless black fragments. Elder Shogu felt as if he had been struck by lightning. His chest caved in as he was flung away. On the other side, Elder Xiao Da's situation was even worse. His long saber struck his opponent's fist, producing a terrifying sound. The rebounding force caused the web between his thumb and forefinger to split open. Blood spurted out as his long saber fell to the ground. His entire arm was also destroyed by this force. It was not broken. Instead, it was directly turned into minced meat by this force. Elder Xiao clutched his wound and screamed in pain. His expression was extremely ferocious. Shock. Absolute shock. In an instant, the 3 Azura Hall elders were severely injured. In front of Lin Xian, they had no power to resist at all. The surrounding crowd was stunned because they did not expect this outcome at all. The corner of Elder Linghu's mouth twitched. This was completely different from what he had imagined. The 3 Azura Hall elders also looked at Lin Xian in shock. Their expressions were full of fear. They did not expect this young man in front of them to be so powerful that the 3 of them together could not defeat him. As for the Azura Hall disciples behind them, they were even more stunned. They originally wanted to charge forward, but now they stopped in their tracks and did not dare to move. Their 3 elders had been defeated, let alone them. However, Lin Xian did not plan to let them off so easily. "Old man, you want me to kneel down and apologize? Kneel down and apologize to me." With that, Lin Xian stretched out his palm, and the dragon catcher hand flew out like an angry dragon. 3 rays of light quickly grabbed at the 3 Azura Hall elders. "How dare you? Get lost! How dare you touch me? The Azura Hall will never forgive you." Xiao and the other 2 elders roared crazily. They were really scared. If they kneeled down and apologized to Lin Xian in front of everyone, they would not be able to survive in the future. Not only the 3 of them, but the entire Azura Hall would also be slapped in the face and become a laughingstock. Such an outcome was even more unbearable than being killed. Therefore, although the 3 of them were severely injured, they did not care about anything else at this moment. They began to burn their spiritual energy and unleashed a terrifying power to resist. However, Lin Xian was not Hua Wufeng. He was someone who could easily kill a peak 9th rank martial artist, let alone 3 9th rank martial artists in the early stage. Therefore, the dragon catcher hand slammed onto the 3 of them, instantly dispersing the spiritual energy that they had gathered. Soon after, 3 gigantic palms of light grabbed the 3 elders of the Azura Hall and lifted them up as if they were ants. "No, you can't do this. Elder Linghu, save us." The faces of the Azura Hall elders turned green. They were no longer as crazy as before. At this moment, their faces were filled with fear as they screamed. The surrounding people were dumbfounded. They did not expect the Azura Hall, which was usually fierce and famous like a lunatic, to be like this. The corner of Elder Linghu's mouth twitched. He did not expect this to happen either. However, he decided to stop it. No matter what, he could not let the three elders of the Azura Hall kneel down and apologize in front of everyone. If he really did that, the entire Azura Hall would probably go crazy. Therefore, in the next moment, his figure flashed, and he rushed toward Lin Xian. He said in a deep voice, "All right, stop. You vented your anger. Hurry up and release the three elders." Lin Xian frowned, and a cold light shone in his eyes. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around and looked at Elder Linghu with a terrifying gaze. "Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around? Hurry up and leave. Otherwise, I'll make you kowtow with me." Lin Xian's voice was cold and filled with murderous intent. He did not have a good impression of Elder Linghu. He only wanted to maintain the internal balance of the Black Dragon sect. However, why would Lin Xian listen to him? He was not a member of the Black Dragon sect. His goal was to destroy the Black Dragon sect. Therefore, he directly scolded Elder Linghu. Chapter 1359. Lin Xian frowned, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. In the next moment, he suddenly turned around and looked at Elder Linghu with a terrifying gaze. "Who do you think you are? How dare you order me around? I'll get lost, or I'll make you kowtow with me." Everyone was dumbfounded when they heard that. Many people even thought that they were dreaming and couldn't believe their ears. What is he doing? How dare he scold Elder Linghu? F***CK? Crazy. He's really crazy. How dare he speak to the leader of the enforcement team like that? Does he want to die? Everyone says that the people of the Azura Hall are crazy. But why do I feel that this kid is even crazier than them? Everyone was shocked and couldn't believe it. Elder Linghu was even more stunned. He couldn't believe his ears. What was he doing? Scolding him? His face darkened when he thought of that. Good. Kid, I didn't expect you to be so arrogant. You don't even put me in your eyes. Elder Linghu was so angry that he laughed. Then I'll see what qualifications you have to be arrogant in front of me. The three elders of the Azura Hall were originally in despair when they were caught by Lin Xian, but now they were laughing wildly. They were very excited. "Ha! This idiot kid dares to scold Elder Linghu. He's dead for sure." In the next moment, they all roared, "Elder Linghu, did you see that? This kid is too arrogant. Elder Linghu, quickly take him down. Punish him severely. We can't let such a person go. Or he'll be a threat to the entire Darklight Convention. Capture him, cripple his cultivation, and get rid of this disaster forever." The three elders of the Azura Hall roared crazily. Elder Linghu's eyes were gloomy, and in the next moment, a terrifying power erupted from his body. As the leader of the enforcement team, Elder Linghu's cultivation was at the mid-stage of the 9th Heaven Venerable Realm. He was much stronger than the three elders of the Azura Hall. At this moment, his aura erupted, forming countless gusts of wind that swept through the entire ancient city of the Southern Desolation. The world was dark and gloomy. An energy that made one's heart tremble rapidly spread out in all directions. Elder Spiritual Fox straightened his body. The aura on his body was extremely sharp. He stretched out a palm and grabbed in front of him. Rumble. He stretched out his hand, and thunder rumbled in front of him. Lightning bolts fell in all directions, forming a sea of lightning. Terrifying lightning power exploded out, forming many lightning beasts that danced in the air. Together with the terrifying palm, they instantly enveloped Lin Xian. Rushing Thunder Palm. This is the unique skill of the saint. Rushing Thunder Palm. Seeing this scene, the surrounding martial artists cried out in alarm. As for the three Azura Hall elders, they were overjoyed. The Rushing Thunder Palm was even more terrifying than their Azura ultimate skill. Now that elderling who was using it, he would definitely be able to subdue the detestable brat in an instant. Rushing Thunder Palm, Lin Xian's lips curled up in disdain. In the next moment, he let out a low growl. Countless purple-white lightning bolts surged in his body and quickly condensed in front of him. They formed a purple-white lightning fist and blasted forward. As soon as the purple-white lightning bolts appeared, the surrounding void trembled violently. Countless black holes appeared in the surroundings, as if they couldn't withstand this power. A strange and terrifying power surged out and instantly tore apart the sea of lightning formed by the rushing Thunder Palm. What? The power of lightning? He also possesses the power of lightning? Could he be a thunder-type martial artist? Purple-white lightning? What kind of lightning is this? How come I've never heard of it? Seeing Lin Xian secretly using a thunder-type martial art, everyone opened their mouths wide in shock. Elderling Hu's eyelids twitched violently, and he was shocked. He didn't expect Lin Xian to be a thunder-type martial artist like him. However, he quickly calmed down. Humph. So what if you're a thunder-type martial artist? You're just a kid. How can you beat me? Get down. Thinking of this, he roared angrily. The power of lightning in his body surged and quickly poured into his palm, causing the rushing Thunder Palm in the void to shine even brighter. In the next moment, the purple-white lightning fist and the rushing Thunder Palm collided violently. Suddenly, there was a loud sound of thunder. Countless lightning bolts were like wild snakes, blasting in all directions. Cracks appeared in the void like a broken mirror. The earth trembled as countless defensive arrays flashed, quickly protecting the entire ancient town. Even so, the terrifying power caused the entire ancient town to shake violently. Ka, ka, ka. There was a piercing sound in the sky, as if metal was breaking. Everyone raised their heads and looked up. Then they opened their mouths wide in horror, because they discovered that the radiance of the rushing thunder hand only persisted for a moment, and then loudly shattered, splitting into countless bolts of lightning. The purple-white lightning fist was like the fist of the thunder god. It quickly broke through the rushing Thunder Palm and blasted toward Elderling Hu in an even more violent manner. What? How is this possible? Elderling Hu's pupils shrank, and his face was full of disbelief. That was his ultimate skill, the rushing Thunder Palm. How could it be broken so easily? How powerful was his opponent? How could he have such terrifying power? However, he did not have time to think about this because the purple-white lightning fist in front of him had already blasted toward him. He did not dare to take it head-on. He could only dodge to the side in a flash. However, he had underestimated the lightning fist. The moment he moved, the purple-white lightning fist in the sky moved with him. Not only that, but the fist also accelerated midway and blasted directly on Elderling Hu's body. Rumble! The lightning exploded, and the terrifying energy flooded the surroundings. Elderling Hu screamed as his body was struck by the lightning. Everyone was stunned. They could not believe it. That was Elderling Hu. He was the highest leader of the enforcers and was extremely terrifying. Even the hall masters of the various halls had to be polite when they met him. However, he had been defeated by a young man. This was simply too unbelievable. The three elders of the Azura Hall were even more shocked. Their minds were blank, and their faces were filled with despair. They had thought that with Elderling Hu's help, they would definitely be able to subdue the detestable kid in front of them. However, they did not expect him to be so powerful that even Elderling Hu was no match for him. Their faces were ashen, and the hope that had risen in their hearts was instantly extinguished. Did they really have to kowtow to this kid in front of everyone? At that thought, the three elders had the urge to kill themselves. They even wanted to self-destruct and die. However, Lin Xian did not give them any chance to do so. The three green dragon hands were like the hands of a devil as they pressed down on them tightly. The three elders of the Azura Hall could not mobilize the spiritual power in their bodies. "Get over here." Lin Xian snorted coldly. Three light palms carrying the three elders of the Azura Hall quickly flew over. Bang, bang, bang. In the next instant, the three elders were pressed to the ground by the giant light palms. Chapter 1360. They are kneeling. They are really kneeling. The crowd exclaimed as they looked at the scene before them. They couldn't believe that they would see such a scene one day. Three elders of the Azura Hall were kneeling before a young man. "Since you like kneeling and apologizing, I'll do as you wish." After saying that, Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Three gigantic green dragon palms appeared in the air and pressed the three elders' heads to the ground. Bang, bang, bang. Under Lin Xian's control, the three Shura Hall elders could not resist at all. They were forced to kneel and kowtow. When their heads touched the ground, they immediately let out a low groan. Southern Desolation Ancient Town. At this moment, the street was silent. Only the sound of heads hitting the ground could be heard. Bang, bang, bang. The sound was so low that it seemed to be knocking on everyone's hearts. No one could describe their feelings at this moment because this scene was like a dream. The three elders of the Azura Hall were pressed to the ground, and they were kowtowing nonstop. This scene was simply too shocking. The surrounding martial artists were stunned. The disciples of the Shura Hall were stunned. Even the three elders who were pressed to the ground and kowtowed nonstop were stunned. Until now, the three elders still could not believe that the young man dared to make them kowtow and apologize in public. This was no longer a matter of face slapping. This was a situation where they would not rest until one of them was dead. The Shura Hall was humiliated like this today. They would definitely go berserk. At that time, the entire hall would be infuriated. Even if the young man was the disciple of the third guardian, he would not be able to suppress his anger. In the end, even the third guardian would not be able to protect him. Lunatic, this guy is definitely a lunatic. In the distance, Elder Ling Hu supported his body. His eyes were filled with shock. After knowing this, the Shura Hall would definitely not rest until the young man in front of him was dead. There was also the Blood Fiend Hall. They had a very good relationship with the Shura Hall. He was afraid that even the Blood Fiend Hall would not be able to take this lying down. At that time, when the two halls went berserk, the young man in front of him would not be able to resist. However, the surrounding martial artists did not care about this at all. They were not disciples of the Shura Hall, nor were they the third guardian's men. Therefore, the outcome of this matter had nothing to do with them. However, at this moment, their eyes were red, and they were trembling with excitement. Looking at the scene before them, many people felt their blood boil, and they could not help but roar at the sky. "Idol! This is my F***King Idol. Arrogant, too arrogant. I've never seen anyone so arrogant. Awesome. This is too awesome." Three elders kneeling on the ground and kowtowing. Just thinking about it makes one's blood boil. If there comes a day when I have such strength, I would be willing to die. These people from the Black Dragon sect were originally disciples of the demonic sect. They only worshipped strength and didn't care about relationships or reasons. They only worshipped the strong, but Lin Xian's rampant behavior today and the scene in front of them had deeply convinced these people. From their point of view, this was what true experts were like. They wanted their enemies to kneel at their feet. However, there were also some people who swallowed their saliva fiercely, as if their hearts had been struck by lightning. It's over. There's going to be a huge earthquake. I'm afraid this dark and light conference won't be peaceful. If what happened yesterday spreads, the people from the Azura Hall will definitely come knocking on our door. No matter how strong he is, Can he contend against the entire Azura Hall? One must know that even the third guardian himself could not directly start a war with an entire hall. In front of them, the three Azura Hall elders who were kneeling on the ground regained their senses and let out sharp screams. Kid, how dare you treat us like this? You're dead. The Azura Hall will not rest until you're dead. The humiliation I suffered today, I will return it 100 times over in the future. You're finished. No one can save you, not even the third protector. Just you wait. Just you wait. The Azura Hall's counterattack will tear you apart. The three elders kneeled on the ground, their heads held down by the three light elementals. They kept kowtowing, but they still kept roaring. If sound could kill, they would have torn the other party into countless pieces. Behind them, the disciples of the Azura Hall saw this scene, and their faces were filled with despair. Elders, get up, fight back, hurry up, and release the elders of the Azura Hall. Otherwise, when the Azura Hall's army arrives, they will tear you to pieces. All the disciples of the Azura Hall roared madly, but none of them dared to step forward. It would be a small matter if they were killed by the other party, but if they were forced to kowtow to the ground, they might as well smash their heads against the wall and die. It's useless to say anything. Today, the three of them will kowtow to the end. 100 of them, not one less. Lin Xian's black hair fluttered in the wind as he looked around. He controlled the giant light elementals in the air and shocked everyone like an emperor. In the distance, Elderling who saw this scene and was extremely shocked. The corner of his mouth kept twitching. He now knew that the young man in front of him was not someone they could afford to offend. However, this scene was too shocking. He could not allow it to continue. Otherwise, his position as the leader of the enforcers would come to an end. Sir Hua, stop. I beg you. You vented your anger and kowtowed. Hurry up and release the three elders. Elderling who said, his voice no longer as arrogant as before. The surrounding people were shocked. They did not expect the leader of the enforcers to beg someone else. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, they would not have believed it even if they were beaten to death. Now, you know how to beg for mercy? What were you doing earlier? Weren't you very arrogant before? Lin Xian sneered. I said it before. 100 kowtows, not one less. Elderling whose eyelids twitched when he heard that. However, a bitter smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. He did not dare to say anything because the other party was stronger than him. Moreover, the other party had no qualms. He was a madman. If he said anything more, the other party would probably force him to kowtow to the ground. Elder Xiaogu roared madly. Brat, you're too arrogant. So what if I kowtow to you 100 times? As long as I'm alive, I'll lead the Azura Hall's army and kill you. Not only you, but everyone related to you will die. Yes, all of them will die. Elder Xiaoda's face was also filled with madness, especially those two B** cheese beside you. They'll die with you. He was really mad because this murder was caused by a woman. Not only did he hate Lin Xian, but he also hated the Morong Qingqing beside Lin Xian. Brat, kill us if you dare. Otherwise, you'll pay 100 times the price. The three Azura Hall elders' voices were wretched. They sounded like evil spirits, causing people to tremble from head to toe. Lin Xian's face darkened. There was a trace of cold, killing intent in his eyes. How dare you threaten me now? Looks like you don't know what's good for you. Chapter 1361. The three elders of the Azura Hall screamed miserably, as if they were evil spirits. Everyone who heard them trembled in fear. Lin Xian's face darkened as well. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. How dare you threaten me now? It seems like you don't know what's good for you. So what if I threaten you? Provoking the Azura Hall is the biggest mistake you've made in your life. Kill me if you dare. Otherwise, I'll make you suffer 10,000 times more. The three elders roared in anger. They did not believe that Lin Xian would dare to kill them. Kill you? Do you think I don't dare to? Lin Xian's body emitted a terrifying killing intent as he spoke. It was as if a sword of slaughter was hanging in the air. That aura made everyone tremble. Many of them even wanted to kneel on the ground, the three elders of the Azura Hall in front of Lin Xian. They were the first to bear the brunt. They screamed as they were enveloped by the crazy killing intent. Their eyes were filled with fear. No, you can't do it, Elder Linghu shouted frantically from the side. He wanted to stop Lin Xian. Elder Xiugu was also shocked. He screamed, "Kid, how dare you trick me?" Bang! Lin Xian did not say a word. Instead, he responded with a fierce attack. The dragon catcher hand above him slammed down hard. Elder Xiugu's head was cracked open. Brain matter flew out, and blood splattered everywhere. Half of his body fell to the ground with a plop. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. He killed someone again. After killing the disciples of the Azura Hall, Lin Xian killed someone again. This time, it was an elder of the Azura Hall. Everyone's heart trembled violently. They did not expect Lin Xian to kill someone again. Moreover, it was an elder of the Azura Hall. He was going to poke a hole in the sky, looking at the corpse on the ground. Elder Xioda and Elder Xiumu on the side were also dumbfounded. They didn't think that the other party would actually dare to make a move and kill without hesitation. Kid, you're dead meat. How dare you kill an elder of the Azura Hall? No one in the world can save you. Elder Xioda roared ferociously. He seemed to have gone mad. Noisy! Lin Xian coldly snorted. He controlled the azure dragon hand above him and once again smashed down. Immediately, Elder Xioda's head exploded. Another one had died. Seeing Elder Xioda's corpse fall, everyone's hearts trembled fiercely. Kill all of us if you have the ability. However, even if you kill us, the Azura Hall will avenge us. The last elder, Elder Xiumu, roared, "You don't have to use the Azura Hall to scare me. If I want to, I can destroy the Azura Hall anytime I want." Lin Xian's voice was ice cold. His palm fell, and Elder Xiumu immediately exploded. Blood splattered everywhere, and corpses flew everywhere. The pungent smell of blood quickly spread out. Everyone's scalp went numb as they looked at the three corpses in the field, dumbstruck. What happened today was too shocking. They might not be able to see it a second time in their lives. Elder Linghu's scalp went numb. He knew that things were completely out of his control. On the other hand, the disciples of the Azura Hall were so agitated that they went crazy. They didn't expect that their three elders would be pressed to the ground and kowtowed. Now, they were killed in front of everyone. It made them feel as if the sky was falling down. "You're courting death. How dare you kill our elders? I'll fight you to the death." One of the disciples' eyes were bloodshot. He was so agitated that he couldn't care less about anything else. He charged at Lin Xian fiercely. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Killing intent flashed in his eyes. Then he punched out, and the Azura Hall disciple's body was instantly torn into pieces. "Since you're courting death, I'll fulfill your wishes. Go, fight him to the death. Avenge our elders." The group of Azura Hall disciples' eyes were red as they charged at Lin Xian crazily. Lin Xian didn't show any mercy. As long as they dared to come within 3 feet of him, he would kill them all with a punch. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, 5 Azura Hall martial artists were killed by him. Everyone's scalp went numb. They were dumbfounded and didn't know what to say. Elder Linghu was also dumbfounded. He even forgot to stop them. However, as more and more Azura Hall disciples charged at Lin Xian without any regard for their lives, a cold shout came from the void. "Everyone, stop." The voice was like a clap of thunder. It stunned everyone, especially the Azura Hall disciples. Their bodies froze on the spot, and the redness in their eyes quickly faded. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and looked at the void. Elderling whose expression changed drastically. He bowed respectfully to the void. "Greetings, Lord City Governor." "What? Lord City Governor?" Hearing this, the crowd went into an uproar. They didn't expect this majestic voice to come from the Southern Desolation Ancient Town's city governor. Although the Southern Desolation Ancient Town didn't belong to any hall, it was still a part of the Black Dragon sect. The city governor's status was equivalent to the 4 great protectors. He was even above the hall masters. They didn't expect that even the city governor would be alerted this time. There was no figure in the sky, but the voice clearly rang in everyone's ears. "Today's matter ends here. Everyone should leave immediately. The Azura Hall disciples can't act presumptuously here." Hua Wufeng, as the disciple of the 3rd great protector, "You're powerful. I won't punish you for killing the Azura Hall's elder. However, when the Azura Hall comes looking for you for revenge in the future, I won't interfere. Azura Hall, if they dare to come looking for trouble, I don't mind destroying them." Lin Xian didn't care. Since he was going to destroy the Black Dragon sect sooner or later, it would be best if he could destroy the Azura Hall here. The mysterious voice in the sky didn't reply. Instead, it disappeared and didn't speak again. However, with the city governor's order, the surrounding people didn't dare to stay any longer. They quickly dispersed. The Azura Hall disciples glared at Lin Xian fiercely, then left with murderous intent. Needless to say, they were going to look for the Black Dragon sect for revenge. Lin Xian also withdrew his murderous intent and left with Morong Qingcheng and the others. He didn't care about the Azura Hall. The only thing he was worried about was the Black Dragon sect's leader. He didn't care about the others. If those people really pushed him too far, he didn't mind killing them in the Southern Desolation Ancient Town. After all, he had the king's killing array on him. No one could trap him. At most, he could just leave this place. Lin Xian and the Azura Hall disciples left. However, this matter didn't disappear. Instead, it swept through the entire Southern Desolation Ancient Town like a gust of wind. In an instant, all the martial artists were talking about this matter. It's over. The Azura Hall is really done for this time. If they can't take revenge, they won't be able to raise their heads for the rest of their lives. Yeah, the elder of the hall was forced to kowtow 100 times. That's not all. He was even killed on the spot. This is a great humiliation. That Hua Wufeng is too terrifying. Why do I feel that his strength has surpassed Nangong Hao and the others? Is this the disciple taught by the protector? Isn't this strength too strong? Chapter 1362. That Hua Wufeng is too terrifying. Why do I feel that his strength has surpassed Nangong Hao and the rest? Is this the disciple of the guardian? Isn't this strength too strong? The crowd was shocked, and many were envious. However, not everyone felt the same way. F*CK, what Hua Wufeng? Let him come over. I'll slap him to death. Those were the disciples of the Blood Fiend Hall. They had a good relationship with the Azura Hall. Hence, they were filled with killing intent when the Azura Hall suffered such a heavy blow. However, they did not dare to attack. After all, there were rules in Nanhuang Ancient City. Only Lin Xian would be safe if he attacked. The others could not do so. In history, no one dared to challenge the rules of the ancient wildlands. Even the madmen of the Blood Fiend Hall did not dare to attack. The only ones who could attack were the Azura Hall. The city governor had said that he would not interfere when the Azura Hall came to seek revenge on Lin Xian. This meant that the Azura Hall disciples were allowed to attack Lin Xian. However, the people of the Azura Hall seemed to have disappeared. They did not appear in front of the crowd. However, the crowd knew that the people of the Azura Hall could not have disappeared. They must have gathered somewhere to discuss revenge. Everyone was talking about it. As for Nangong Hao and Blood Rogue, Ghost Li, and the rest naturally heard the news. They did not expect the other party to be so arrogant as to attack the Azura Hall. Nangong Hao frowned when he heard the news. He looked at the subordinate who came to report and asked, "Where's Xiaoming? Is he not here yet?" Xiaoming was the first branch leader of the Azura Hall. He was also one of the top sky prides of the younger generation. However, the subordinate quickly shook his head. "He's not here yet. Not only him, but most of the Azura Hall's main forces are not here yet. I think they'll arrive in Nanhuang Ancient Town the day after tomorrow." The day after tomorrow? Nangong Hao narrowed his eyes when he heard that. Murderous intent appeared in his eyes. "Hua Wufeng, I wanted to deal with you personally. However, you provoked the Azura Hall. Since that's the case, I'll let those madmen kill you. It saves me the trouble of doing it myself." On the other side, Blood Rogue also received the news. The good relationship between the Blood Fiend Hall and the Azura Hall was not a joke. So when he heard the news, his face immediately darkened. There was even a trace of sharp killing intent in his eyes. However, it remained that he was not someone from the Azura Hall. Thus, even though he was furious, he did not lose his rationality. The fact that the other party was able to kill 3 of the Azura Hall's elders meant that the other party was definitely not weaker than him. At the very least, he was a prodigy. To deal with such a person, it was impossible for ordinary people to do it. Only a genius like him could possibly kill such a person. However, with the dark light convention at such a critical juncture, it was impossible for him to casually make a move. It was not because of the rules of the southern desolate ancient town, but because of the octatic treasure chest game. For them, this was an extremely rare opportunity. He had to use all of his energy to deal with this matter. Therefore, before that, he would not make a move. Taking a deep breath, he called for his subordinates and said in a deep voice, "Pass down the order. Tell our Blood Fiend Hall members not to provoke Hua Wufeng during this period of time. Without my orders, no one is to act rashly. Do you hear me?" "Yes," a middle-aged man quickly agreed, but soon after, his face revealed a difficult expression, as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. "What's wrong? If you have something to say it quickly." "Leader, Shueli has already gone to look for Hua Wufeng." "What?" Hearing his subordinate's words, Blood Hand immediately frowned. He did not expect his subordinates to be so impatient. "Hurry up and call him back. We must not fight with Hua Wufeng." Seeing Blood Hand's expression, his subordinates knew the severity of the matter and quickly moved. On the other hand, Blood Hand's face was gloomy and his eyes were filled with killing intent. "Hua Wufeng, I advise you not to touch my people. Otherwise, after the Dark Light Convention, I'll make sure you die a horrible death." On the other side, Lin Xian and the others had returned to the Drunken Immortal Inn. Although today's incident had caused an uproar and shocked the entire Black Dragon sect, it was nothing to Lin Xian. Compared to young Master Ling Feng, the people from Azura Hall were much weaker. They were even weaker than the 8 big families. Therefore, Lin Xian did not take them seriously. What he needed to do now was to increase his strength and wait for the mysterious crystal to appear on the 3rd day. Once he obtained the mysterious crystal, he would leave this place and study the mysterious demon abyss. After taking a deep breath, Lin Xian calmed himself down and started to absorb the sea god's ice power in his body. After the previous cultivation, he had absorbed almost a third of it. His ice martial soul was now extremely terrifying. Not long after, suddenly the air in the room fluctuated. A voice quickly sounded. "Hua Wufeng, how dare you kill the Azura Hall members? Get out here. I am Shueli from the Blood-Killing Hall. I will take your head and offer it to my brothers in the Azura Hall." The voice was ferocious and filled with boundless killing intent. Lin Xian slowly opened his eyes. There was a hint of coldness in his gaze. However, he did not get up. Instead, he summoned his lightning martial soul. The lightning force in his body surged and quickly condensed into a human-shaped lightning bolt in front of him. Then the human-shaped lightning bolt quickly changed, and gradually Lin Xian's appearance appeared. On his body, a set of purplish-white armor formed. As soon as the figure appeared, he nodded slightly at Lin Xian before quickly disappearing on the spot. On the other hand, Lin Xian slowly closed his eyes again and continued to cultivate. In a remote place in the ancient wilderness city, a crimson figure stood. The figure was tall and muscular. He wore a red armor and looked like a god of war. He was Xue Li from the blood-killing hall. He was the one who had sent the voice out. At that moment, he was looking at the sky. He knew that the other party had received his message and would definitely come over. Indeed, not long after, he saw a purplish-white light flying over. "Humph, he is here." When Xue Li saw this, a cruel smile appeared on his face. He was afraid that the other party would not come. As long as the other party came, he would definitely let him know what regret was. Swoosh! A purplish-white light flashed, and a purple figure appeared in front of him. The purplish-white armor on his body flashed with terrifying lightning, as if he was the god of thunder. A lightning-based martial artist was just like the legends. Xue Li did not see that it was a lightning martial soul. He thought that it was Lin Xian. In the next moment, he stepped out and said coldly, "Lad, follow me back obediently. Kneel in front of the Azura Hall and accept your death. I will let you die a quick death. Otherwise, if I catch you personally, it will be difficult for you to die." Chapter 1363. 10 chapters. Everyone watch first. I will continue to write. There will be more tonight. Please support, please subscribe. However, Lin Xian's thunder martial soul didn't know how to speak. Therefore, Lin Xian's only response was to attack. With a punch, thunder and lightning surged. The terrifying power of thunder and lightning spread in all directions, forming a huge thunder and lightning cage that enveloped Xue Li. "You're courting death." Xue Li was furious. He had not expected his opponent to attack immediately. Immediately, he roared and quickly counterattacked. As an elite of the Blood Fiend Hall, he was a violent and bloodthirsty person. At this moment, his attack was even more ferocious. The murderous aura around him surged. Together with the bloody aura, it formed a ferocious demon. Countless bloody murderous aura surrounded him, forming a materialized light that made him look like a god of death. With a monstrous murderous aura, he quickly charged forward. Bang! In the next moment, Xue Li and the Thunder Marshal's soul clashed. Suddenly, terrifying energy spread in all directions. However, the battle only lasted for a short while before it ended. Lin Xian's Thunder Martial Soul was extremely valiant. With a punch, it broke all the skills and shattered the sea of blood and bones around him. Then he threw out a palm that covered the sky and hit Xue Li directly. The terrifying power of thunder and lightning formed a seal in his body, completely sealing his spiritual power. What? How is this possible? Xue Li's spiritual power was sealed in an instant. His face was extremely pale, and his eyes were filled with horror. He had not expected his opponent to be so powerful that he could be subdued in an instant. How is this possible? He screamed in disbelief. Only his master, Bloodhand, could subdue him in an instant. Could it be that the young man in front of him was so powerful that he could compete with his master? He could not understand. In the next moment, he felt his body shake. He was carried by the Thunder Martial Soul and flew quickly to the Drunken Immortal Inn. It was not dark yet, so there were many people on the streets of the southern desolate ancient town. However, in the next moment, they all looked up at the sky, and their mouths fell open. Damn, it can't be. That bloody figure? Isn't that someone from the Blood Fiend Hall? It's true, and it's an elite of the Blood Fiend Hall, a general of the Blood Hand, Shweli. Why is he being dragged away? Who knows? Could there be another battle? Damn. Look at that purple figure. F***CK. Is that Hua Wufeng? Hua Wufeng. Everyone looked over carefully and indeed saw the purple figure. Immediately, their heads exploded. It can't be. I did feel the energy fluctuation just now. Could it be that Hua Wufeng and Shweli were the ones who did it? Madman. He was too arrogant. First, they killed the Azura Hall, and now they're making a move against the Blood Fiend Hall? This guy is crazy. It's over. He's definitely finished. The Blood Fiend Hall and the Azura Hall have always been on good terms. Now that the other party has made a move on the people of the Blood Fiend Hall, I'm afraid the Blood Fiend Hall will not rest until the other party is dead. That's also a group of lunatics. Furthermore, they're battle maniacs. Their battle prowess is incomparably terrifying. I'm afraid that no matter how strong Hua Wufeng is, he won't be able to defeat the entire Blood Fiend Hall. Everyone was discussing spiritedly. They were incomparably shocked, but this had nothing to do with the Thunder Martial spirit. He was only responsible for bringing the blood force to the drunken immortal restaurant. After that, he waved his hand, and several lightning bolts gathered to form chains, quickly wrapping around the blood force. Then he hung the blood force above the drunken immortal restaurant. The Thunder Martial spirit's body swayed and disappeared into the empty space. No, you can't do this to me, Shweli roared madly as he was hung in the air. The drunken immortal restaurant was the most prosperous place in the southern wilderness ancient town. The people who came and went were the elites of the various halls. However, he was hung at the entrance, and everyone around saw him. This was even more unbearable than killing him. Humiliation. This was a blatant humiliation. This was not only a slap to his face, but also a slap to the Blood Fiend Hall's face. Seeing this, the martial artists of the Black Dragon sect were even more shocked. The effect was similar to kneeling down and kowtowing. Based on the Blood Fiend Hall's style of doing things, they would definitely fight to the death with Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian did not care at all. He had already planned to destroy the various halls, not to mention hanging one person. Soon, the Thunder Martial spirit returned to Lin Xian's room and entered his body in a flash. The corners of Lin Xian's lips curled up as he continued to cultivate. Branch leader, something bad has happened. On the other side, a disciple of the Blood Fiend Hall quickly reported, "What's the matter? Why are you so flustered?" Bloodhand asked in a low voice, "Is it about Shweli?" Previously, he knew that Shweli had gone to look for Hua Wufeng, so he was especially concerned. "It's about Shweli." The disciple's expression was very ugly. "What's the news? Has Shweli been killed?" Bloodhand asked. He had already thought of the worst outcome. "He hasn't been killed, but—" The disciple hesitated and finally said, "But Shweli has been hung at the Drunken Immortal restaurant." Now, everyone knows. What? Hung at the Drunken Immortal restaurant? Bloodhand's face turned black when he heard this. This was no longer a slap to the face. This was a slap to the face. And it was a violent kick. So Shweli allowed the other party to seal him and didn't resist. Bloodhand's voice was filled with murderous intent. Shweli's cultivation has been sealed by someone. He has no power to resist at all. Furthermore, that kid's lightning chains are extremely terrifying. A few of our disciples wanted to attack, but they were all injured by the power of lightning. Trash. A bunch of trash. Bloodhand roared crazily. He couldn't be involved in this matter. Otherwise, he would be humiliated. Go inform Bloodblade and ask him to save Xueli soon. Bloodhand regained his composure and ordered his subordinate in a low voice. The subordinate received the order and quickly left. However, the murderous intent in Bloodhand's eyes grew stronger. Hua Wufeng, you're arrogant. However, you'll pay for what you've done. Just you wait. After the octatic treasure chest game, I'll kill you with my own hands. At the end of his sentence, Bloodhand's entire face became ferocious. On the other side, Bloodblade made his move. It was a young man. He was very handsome. He wore a blood-red robe, and his waterfall-like hair was tied up on his head with a fork. He looked very dashing. His temperament was completely different from the other warriors in the blood slaughter hall. If he walked outside, no one would think that he was from the blood slaughter hall. However, he was the renowned Xue Yidao of the Blood Fiend Hall. He only needed one strike to kill, so he was named Bloodblade. One could imagine how terrifying his strength was. After receiving Bloodhand's order, he immediately made his move and soon arrived in front of the drunken immortal restaurant. The surrounding warriors were shocked again. They didn't expect Bloodhand to send such a terrifying person. Bloodblade! Damn, it's really Bloodblade. He actually made his move. Looks like the Blood Slaughter Hall is really angry this time. Chapter 1364. Spitting Blood. Continue to feel good. Requesting votes. Tipping. Collecting. Subscribing. The surrounding warriors were shocked again. They did not expect Bloodhand to send such a terrifying person. Bloodblade. Damn. He actually made a move. It seems that Blood Fiend Hall is really angry this time. They can't help it. Cousins Elite was hung at the door. This is more painful than being slapped in the face. Of course they're angry. But what surprised me was that Hua Wufeng was so powerful. Just a few lightning chains were able to produce such power. Blood Fiend Hall was forced to send an expert like Bloodblade. The crowd discussed animatedly. Bloodblade stood in front of the drunken immortal inn and looked at Xueli with narrowed eyes. Blade, save me. Xueli was in the air. When he saw Bloodblade's figure, he was overjoyed. Blood Fiend Hall's disciples had made a move before, but without exception, they were all defeated by the lightning. This made Xueli go crazy. He even felt like dying. The news of him being hung up and beaten had spread. Countless people had seen it with their own eyes. He was too ashamed to live. If the spiritual power in his body had not been sealed, he would have self-destructed. However, Bloodblade had appeared when he was in despair. That was why he was so excited. He knew Bloodblade's power. Bloodblade was more terrifying than him. After all, Bloodblade's name was not given casually. Bloodblade narrowed his eyes. When he saw Xueli, his gaze became fierce. Seeing this scene, the expressions of the surrounding martial artists changed. Retreat! Bloodblade is about to make a move. Some of the older warriors' expressions changed drastically. The new warriors were very confused. What does Bloodblade's move have to do with us? He's not going to attack us. But in the next moment, they understood. This was because when Yidao Xue grabbed the blood-colored demonic blade at his waist, his entire temperament underwent an earth-shaking change. His originally carefree and calm expression immediately disappeared. It was replaced by a berserk attitude. A terrifying blood-colored gale surged out of his body and swept in all directions. A blood-colored light materialized and enveloped the entire street. His originally delicate and handsome face became incomparably grave and stern, as if he was a god of death. The saber light flashed like a scarlet lightning bolt, instantly charging into the sky. This saber strike was extremely terrifying. It directly cut the lightning chain apart. We're saved. Shui Li heaved a sigh of relief and fell heavily to the ground. However, he couldn't care less about the pain. Instead, he quickly got up and tried to stop Blood One Blade. This was because Blood Blade was currently holding the blood-colored demonic saber as he strode towards the drunken immortal inn. From the looks of it, he was probably looking for Lin Xian to fight. However, Shui Li stopped him with all his might. One slash, no. What do you mean? Looking down on me? You think I can't beat him? Shui Yidao's voice was ice cold and contained a trace of madness. My name wasn't given randomly. I only need one stab to kill him. However, Shui Li shook his head frantically. No, you can't go. It's not that I don't believe you, but that kid is really too strange. If anything happens to you, our Blood Fiend Hall will be completely destroyed. Beside him, a few disciples from the Blood Fiend Hall quickly stepped forward to stop him. That's right, Master Yidao. Blood Hand branch leader has ordered us not to attack Hua Wufeng. Blood One Blade stopped when he heard Blood Hand's order. Then, he stabbed the blood-colored demonic saber in his hand into the bridge. The moment his hand left the saber, the murderous aura on his body disappeared, and he became confident and calm again. In that case, let's go. Blood One Blade, who had returned to his normal state, said with a smile. Then he turned around and walked into the distance. The surrounding crowd immediately opened up a path for him. Even the new disciples retreated far away in fear. Now, they understood why he was called Blood One Blade. That slash was really too terrifying. No one could block it. Meanwhile, in the Drunken Immortal Inn, the Crimson Dragon looked down and quickly said, "Kid, the person you kidnapped has been rescued. Aren't you going to attack?" "Don't worry about them." Lin Xian shook his head slightly. He wasn't interested in attacking these people. Lin Xian's side was calm and peaceful, but the elites of the various halls were extremely busy. Even in this quiet night, there were countless figures shuttling back and forth in the ancient city of the southern wilderness, reporting news after news. This was because what had happened during the day was too shocking. First, the disciples of the Azura Hall were killed. Then, the elders of the Azura Hall were pressed to the ground and kowtowed. Finally, 3 elders of the Azura Hall and more than 10 disciples of the Azura Hall were killed in front of everyone. Even the leader of the enforcement team was injured. However, the instigator, Hua Wufeng, didn't receive any punishment. This was something that had never happened in the history of the Black Dragon sect. Not only that, after this incident, the other party actually beat up the elites of the Blood Fiend Hall and trampled on their faces. It could be said that in one day, the other party had provoked the Azura Hall and the Blood Fiend Hall. It could be said that everyone was shocked. However, the elites of the various halls frowned because they didn't believe that a normal person could do this. Even a lunatic wouldn't dare to do this. This was because no matter how powerful the third guardian was, he couldn't attack 2 halls at the same time. Moreover, the other party was only a disciple of the third guardian. What exactly did he rely on to dare to attack like this? Some people even suspected that the other party wasn't even the third guardian's disciple. He might be a spy from the Martial Alliance. Therefore, all the halls sent people to investigate, and even went to the Saints sect to investigate. However, the third guardian was in seclusion, and they couldn't see him at all. Moreover, the information they gathered didn't satisfy them. This was because the information they gathered showed that this was the first time Hua Wufeng had come out of seclusion, and no one had seen him before. This meant that other than the third guardian, no one knew if this Hua Wufeng was real or fake. However, the third guardian was in seclusion, and they couldn't see him at all. Therefore, this matter became a mystery, and they couldn't find out the truth. However, they still managed to find a piece of information. When Hua Wufeng first came out of seclusion, his cultivation wasn't that high. He was only an 8th level supremacy. However, The power he displayed during the day was too terrifying. It was definitely the power of a ninth-level supremacy. This information made them very suspicious. Many people's eyes even lit up. If the other party was really an imposter, then he was definitely dead. This was because the southern wilderness ancient town didn't only have the younger generation. There were countless older generation experts and even extremely terrifying existences like the city governor. As long as those people attacked, the other party wouldn't be able to escape. However, they weren't completely confident. Moreover, the matter of cultivation was only a guess. Therefore, it wasn't enough to attract the older generation to attack. However, these people didn't give up. Since they couldn't collect evidence, they planned to follow the other party. As long as the other party revealed a flaw, they could immediately attack. Chapter 1365. Southern Barren Ancient Town, City Leader's Mansion. A tall and majestic middle-aged man sat on the main seat. He held all sorts of information in his hands as his fingers tapped on the air. Beside him stood a few martial artists in black. One of them was Elder Ling Hu. Elder Ling Hu said respectfully, the information was sent by the various halls. They seem to be suspecting Hua Wufeng. They are. The third guardian is in seclusion, and this is Hua Wufeng's first appearance. It's too much of a coincidence. What's more, he seems to be extremely arrogant. He doesn't care about anyone. First, he angered Nangong Hao. Then he massacred the Azura Hall. Finally, he defeated the Bloody Massacre Hall. In just one day, he had offended 3 halls. It probably wasn't done by the third guardian's disciple. Even a guardian had to maintain a good relationship with the halls. Hence, he wouldn't allow his disciples to do such things. So this Hua Wufeng is a fake? Elder Ling Hu was shocked. We can't say that yet. However, the city leader shook his head slightly. There's no direct evidence to prove that he's a fake. Moreover, he has the Black Dragon token of the third guardian. His personality is the same as the information we gathered. He's arrogant and condescending. There's another reason. There's an imbalance within the Saint sect. The third guardian might want to climb up the ranks. Hence, he ordered his disciples to do such things. However, it's all just speculation. Hence, before we get concrete evidence, we can't do anything to Hua Wufeng. What do you mean? Elder Ling Hu asked. Let them test him. They wanted to do it anyway. I'll borrow their hands. Go and tell them not to go overboard. At least there can't be a large-scale battle. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. I'll do it right away, Elder Ling Hu said respectfully. Then he quickly turned and left. On the other side, the elites of the halls smiled ferociously when they received the news from Elder Ling Hu. They knew that the city leader had acquiesced to their idea. As long as they were careful and didn't engage in a large-scale battle, the city leader's mansion and the enforcers wouldn't interfere. This was undoubtedly good news for them. The night passed quickly. On the second day, the southern desolate ancient town was bustling with noise and excitement again, because an auction was going to be held today. The treasures from the Holy Church would be auctioned off. That was a treasure of the saint. Some of them could even make the hall master jealous, so these Black Dragon cult disciples were very excited. Lin Xian also stopped cultivating and pushed open the door. With Murong Qingcheng and Luo Bingshan in tow, the group left the drunken immortal restaurant. He also wanted to see what kind of good items would appear in the Black Dragon sex auction. When the surrounding martial artists saw Lin Xian and the others come out, they all turned silent. Among them, there were a few people who sneered. He's Hua Wufeng? It doesn't look like anything special. Humph, he still dares to come out. He has offended the Azura Hall and Bloodfiend Hall. I heard that Nangong Hao is also there. With so many people here, any one of them can crush him to death. Just you wait. The Azura Hall's army will be here soon. At most, he will die the day after tomorrow. I heard that tomorrow is the octatic treasure chest game. I wonder if he will participate. He's not qualified. Even if he participates, he will only be killed one day earlier. These were all martial artists from the top halls. They had already received orders to kill him after the dark and light convention. Therefore, in their eyes, he was a dead man. Looking at the martial artists from the various halls, Lin Xian suddenly stopped in his tracks. "What's wrong?" Murong Qingcheng asked softly. "Don't tell me you want to fight again." Crimson Dragon also said, "Aren't you going to the auction?" "I'm not going." Lin Xian shook his head, then walked in another direction. Seeing this scene, the surrounding warriors were also stunned. They did not understand why he was leaving. Was he not going to participate in the auction? It can't be. This auction is a treasure of the Saint sect. Even the hall master is interested in it. How can he not care? However, many people sneered. Humph, I guess he doesn't have any money on him. Instead of just standing there and watching, he might as well leave quickly, so that he won't be laughed at. I guess he knows that his time is up. Even if he buys the treasure, it's useless. What? He must be afraid of our branch leader. He can only kill ordinary disciples. If he really meets a top prodigy, he's nothing at all. Many people sneered, thinking that he was afraid. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others left the auction house and came to a quiet place. "Kid, you're really not going to the auction?" Crimson Dragon asked. "Tianan region is very mysterious. Maybe some treasure will appear at the auction. It's a pity if you don't go." Indeed, one could find a white bone with just by strolling around. Who knew if there were other treasures at the auction? However, Lin Xian shook his head. "There's no need to give money to the Black Dragon sect. I'll destroy it sooner or later anyway. It's better to just steal it." "Kid, you want to fight?" Hearing this, Crimson Dragon's eyes lit up. Indeed, the Black Dragon sect is their target. There's no need to give money to them at the auction. We just need to wait for those people to get the treasure. Then we'll steal it. Crimson Dragon was very excited. Then he said, "We need to send someone to the auction. Otherwise, we won't know who got the good stuff." "I'll go." Luo Bingshan stood up. "No need. It's a small matter. Just find someone," Lin Xian said. "Rosalong, bring someone from the Blood Fiend Hall back." The Crimson Dragon turned into a bolt of lightning and quickly brought someone back. The disciple of the Blood Fiend Hall had his spiritual power sealed by the Crimson Dragon and couldn't resist at all. When he saw Lin Xian and the others, he was so scared that his face turned pale. "What are you doing? If you dare touch me, the Blood Fiend Hall will never let you go," the warrior roared crazily. However, Lin Xian's soul power quickly surged out and pierced into the warrior's soul, planting a beast slave imprint on it. Suddenly, the ferocious disciple of the Blood Fiend Hall became abnormally quiet. He then knelt down on one knee and respectfully shouted to Lin Xian, "Greetings, master. Very good. Go to the auction and remember the direction of all the treasures. Then report to me." "Yes, master." The person quickly left. On the other hand, Lin Xian and the others began to stroll around leisurely. On the other side, at the auction, the elites of the various halls had all come to participate. Among them, the 5 top prodigies had arrived early and were invited to the VIP room. On the way, Ghost Li, who was dressed in a black robe and had a pale face, met Blood Hand, who was dressed in a blood-red robe. "I heard that your people were beaten up yesterday. I wonder what you, as a branch leader, think about it. You wandering ghost, get out of my way. If you piss me off, I'll cut you in half." Facing Ghost Li's provocation, Blood Hand's voice was cold, and his blood aura surged. Chapter 1366. On the way, Ghostly, who was dressed in a black robe and had a pale face, met Bloodhand, who was dressed in a blood-red robe. I heard that your men were beaten up yesterday. I wonder how you feel about that. You're a wandering ghost. Get out of my way. If you piss me off, I'll kill you. Faced with Ghostly's provocation, Bloodhand's voice was cold, and his blood auras surged. What? You want to fight me too? Ghostly sneered. However, Bloodhand snorted. I know what you mean. There's a blood soul stone in this auction. It's useful to both of us. Aren't you picking a fight with me because of the blood soul stone? It's good that you know. Ghostly sneered. The blood soul stone is mine. If you dare to fight me, don't blame me for using the white bone banner to extract your soul. It's just a bone banner. If you piss me off, I'll kill you. Bloodhand's expression was ferocious. As for the blood soul stone, it's mine. If you have enough spirit stones, feel free to compete with me. With that, he snorted and left with the Blood Fiend clan. Ghostly's expression was cold, and his eyes were glowing with a terrifying green light. On the other side, Nan Gonghao was also dressed in a robe. He was surrounded by the crowd. He looked around but did not see Hua Wufeng. Where's Hua Wufeng? Why isn't he here yet? He asked in a low voice. Chief, Hua Wufeng left halfway and did not come to the auction. As for the reason, we don't know. Hearing that, Nan Gonghao snorted. What a piece of trash. Since he's not coming, then forget it. Ignore him. He's about to die. It doesn't matter if he comes or not. There's a few spiritual herbs being auctioned this time. They're almost extinct. I must get them. Nan Gonghao muttered to himself. His eyes were burning with passion. Then he led his men into the VIP room. After that, the Shadowless clan, Ravengale clan, Purple Demon clan, and other clans, as well as some sects and families that had sided with the Black Dragon sect, all entered the auction. Soon, the auction began. It was a half-earth step treasure right off the bat, and it immediately drew cries of surprise from everyone. This place wasn't like the Martial Heaven continent. Even these peak heavenly geniuses didn't have a half-earth tier treasure item. So as soon as that weapon appeared, everyone was attracted to it. From this point, it could be seen that although these people's cultivation bases had been raised by external forces, the Heavenly South region's overall level and resources were still lacking compared to the Martial Heaven continent. For example, half-Earth tier treasure items were incomparably precious, but on the Martial Heaven continent, the peak families and sects still had quite a few. 1 million. As soon as the announcement was made, someone immediately made a bid. The bidder was the second leader of the Ravengale Hall. You want to buy a half-Earth step artifact with just 1 million? What a joke. 2 million. The elite from Shadowless Hall sneered. 2 million. 2,400,000. Everyone started to bid, and the price kept rising. If Lin Xian were here, he would definitely see that the price of a half-Earth tier treasure item was at least 10 times higher than on the Martial Heaven continent. As expected, this was a rare treasure in the Heavenly South region. In the end, this half-Earth tier treasure item was won by the Shadowless Hall's Shadowless Hall for 5 million. Everyone was incomparably envious, and quite a few people were terrified. The Shadowless Hall was originally a group of assassins. Their attacks were swift and fierce, and they were extremely strange. Now that they had a half-Earth tier treasure item, they would become even more terrifying. Shadowless's strength would also explosively increase. Bloodhand frowned. To tell the truth, he was extremely envious of this half-Earth tier treasure item. The power of this treasure item combined with their Blood Fiend Hall's cultivation techniques would definitely allow them to sweep through everything. However, because he wanted to compete for the Blood Soul Stone, he didn't use too much of his wealth. In the end, this treasure was won by Shadowless. Forget it. Although a half-Earth tier treasure item is good, it can't compare to a Blood Soul Stone. As long as I can obtain a blood soul stone, my strength will also greatly increase. Blood Hand snorted and closed his eyes to rest, preparing for the next auction. The following auction was even more intense. There were several extremely precious spirit herbs among them. They were all won by Nangong Hao at an extremely high price. The price was extremely shocking and, at the same time, extremely envious. As expected of the divine pill hall, they were extremely wealthy. Nangong Hao didn't even blink when he threw out so many spirit stones. These items were passed down from the Saint sect. They were all very precious and attracted the attention of these elite martial artists. On the auction stage, a black-robed old man said loudly, "The next item is even more magical. Not only can it increase a martial artist's vitality, but it can also strengthen their soul force. It can be said to be incomparably magical." Hearing this, everyone cried out in surprise, and in the VIP room, Blood Hand sat up straight. He knew that the item he had been waiting for had finally appeared. On the other side, Ghost Lee also revealed a cold smile. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. "The Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine." His voice was extremely sharp, carrying a sinister aura. Sure enough, the next moment, the auctioneer continued, "This magical item is the Blood Soul Stone. Not only can the Blood Soul Stone increase a martial artist's vitality, but its blood can also strengthen soul force. It can be said to be an extremely rare treasure." Hearing this, the martial artists in the hall were all excited. They didn't expect to see such a creature in an auction. Everyone couldn't wait to participate in the bidding. Even Nangong Hao's eyes were burning. As an alchemist, he also needed to strengthen his soul force. This Blood Soul Stone was very useful to him. Not only him, but everyone wanted their vitality and soul force to be strong. Therefore, the Blood Soul Stone was very attractive to everyone. Blood Soul Stone, starting price 10 million. Each increment must be no less than 1 million. The bidding starts now. As soon as he finished speaking, the people in the hall boiled with excitement. 13 million, 15 million, 20 million, 24 million, 28 million. The price soared. He, 30 million. Let's see who dares to compete with me. A cold voice sounded, causing everyone's hairs to stand on end. They knew that it was Ghost Lee's voice. The ordinary martial artists shrank their necks in fear. They didn't dare to compete with Ghost Lee. Moreover, they didn't have so many spirit stones. As for the top geniuses, they weren't afraid of Ghost Lee. 35 million. You don't need to scare me. I'm not afraid of you. Blood Hand snorted. 40 million. This kind of good item can only be used by us alchemists. It's a waste for others to use it. Nangong Hao said proudly, "Is that so? I don't think so. Soul force is also important to us assassins." Shadowless's voice also sounded. 45 million. 50 million. Ziyang didn't say anything. He only bid in a deep voice. "Everyone is fighting so fiercely. I don't think there will be any results. Why don't you give it to me? In the future, if you want any beautiful slaves, just tell me. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." A delicate voice sounded. Hearing this voice, everyone was shocked. Chapter 1367. Pink Aristocratic Family. Someone exclaimed, "Damn it, those women are here too. When did they come? Why didn't I know?" Nangong Hao frowned. Those who could make him feel this way must have a high status. The Pink Aristocratic Family was a special force in the Tiannan region. After the Black Dragon sect was awakened, they submitted. Not only that, their status did not drop, but it was even higher than before. They were even valued by the Black Dragon sect's leader. The Pink Aristocratic Family was full of women, and they were all beautiful women. They were proficient in all kinds of charming techniques and were deeply loved by the higher-ups of the Black Dragon sect. The pink aristocratic family also worked hard to send their beautiful women to the experts of the various halls. Until now, almost every expert of the Black Dragon sect had a woman from the pink aristocratic family beside them. It could be said that the pink aristocratic family had completely integrated into the Black Dragon sect. They were deeply rooted and very complicated. No one dared to touch them easily. Even the Divine Pill Hall did not dare to provoke the pink aristocratic family. The two women beside Bloodhand previously were from the pink aristocratic family. Even Nangong Hao had women from the pink aristocratic family. Therefore, everyone knew that although these women looked gentle on the surface, once they were angered, they would retaliate like a storm. Moreover, no one could contend against them. Therefore, when everyone heard the pink aristocratic family's bid, most of them gave up. Only a few geniuses and extremely powerful martial artists were still bidding. However, gradually, those experts could not hold on. Only the pink aristocratic family, Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and Ghostly were left. 100 million. A cold voice sounded. Ghostly was expressionless. He was no longer as relaxed as before. 110 million. Bloodhand gritted his teeth. However, he was determined to get the Blood Soul Stone. 130 million. Nangong Hao snorted. His expression was very cold. Even if the Divine Pill Hall was rich, they could not afford such expenditure. After all, 100 million was not a small amount. It seems like you guys are still unwilling to give up. 150 million. The coquettish voice sounded again. It was as if the spiritual stones were nothing. Hearing this frivolous voice, the surrounding people were shocked. Too strong. Compared to the 5 geniuses, the pink aristocratic family was even stronger. This was because the 5 great sky prides were directly under their respective halls, and each hall was in a hostile state. However, the pink aristocratic family was different. They had already infiltrated each hall. To put it bluntly, behind every expert stood a woman from the pink aristocratic family. Therefore, behind the pink aristocratic family was the entire Black Dragon sect. Therefore, the pink aristocratic family's financial resources could be said to be very strong. After a round of fighting, Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, and Ghostly all retreated in defeat. The pink family's Yuluosha had already won the Blood Soul Stone for 200 million. Humph! Nangong Hao snorted, his face gloomy. Ghostly's expression was also cold. The green light in his eyes kept flickering like 2 balls of ghost fire. Pink aristocratic family, Yuluocha, you better not fall into my hands. Otherwise, I will refine your soul into the most terrifying evil spirit. In another VIP room, Bloodhand's face was also filled with killing intent. A sea of blood formed around him, dyeing the entire room red. If the other party wasn't from the pink aristocratic family, he would have already charged over with his saber. He thought that his biggest enemy during the fight was Ghostly. However, he didn't expect that the final winner wasn't him or Ghostly, but the pink aristocratic family. As for Yuluocha, she kept giggling, seemingly very satisfied with the result. Everyone was shocked. Although they had no fate with the Blood Soul Stone, they didn't come in vain to be able to see such a thrilling auction. After the Blood Soul Stone, the atmosphere in the auction house dropped, but it was still very lively. After all, a magical treasure like the Blood Soul Stone was rare. There was only one in the entire auction house. Half a day later, the highly anticipated auction finally came to an end. However, the lively atmosphere didn't dissipate. The warriors in the hall were all discussing excitedly. However, in the corner of the hall, there was a figure sitting there quietly. He didn't talk to anyone, as if he was asleep. He was the warrior that Lin Xian had planted a beast slave seal on. At that moment, He had already transmitted the scene of the auction to Lin Xian. Soon, Lin Xian received the information. He quickly browsed through it. Then the corner of his mouth curled up, revealing a satisfied smile. Lin Xian was indeed very satisfied. He didn't expect that a good item would appear in this auction. It was the Blood Soul Stone. It could increase blood chi and soul power at the same time. To be honest, he had never seen such an item before. If he could get his hands on this item, it would be of great help to his cultivation of the Furious Dragon formula and the Sky Spill visualization picture. Therefore, he decided to make a move. Not only that, other than the Blood Soul Stone, Lin Xian also found a few supreme-grade spiritual herbs and some other items. Since he was going to make a move, he might as well go big. Lin Xian decided to snatch everything in the auction house. After all, they were all from the Black Dragon religion. Snatching one or two made no difference to him. Therefore, in the next moment, he summoned the little white monkey. Wu Ji, the little white monkey cried out happily. Then it took out a small shabby bowl and started to cast a spell. Whoosh! Soon there were a few more spiritual herbs in the bowl. They were all extremely precious spiritual herbs. On the other side of the auction house, Nan Gonghao cried out in surprise because he found that the supreme-grade spiritual herbs he had just bought were gone. How is this possible? Nan Gonghao was shocked. Who dares to attack me? Get out here! His nerves were twisted as he roared like a madman. He was really angry. As the second branch leader of the Divine Pill Hall and a top genius, no one had ever dared to attack him. Now, someone dared to snatch his spiritual herbs. This was definitely a blatant provocation. However, what made him even more furious was that he didn't even see who it was. How did he do it? What's wrong? What's going on? The surrounding martial artists were also confused. They only saw Nan Gonghao being stunned for a moment before he roared angrily. Who dares to provoke Nan Gonghao? Are you kidding? Who dares to provoke him? Do they want to die? Then why is he so angry? Who knows? Everyone shook their heads. They didn't understand what was going on. On the other side, Shadowless from the assassination hall also snorted and shook his head. He couldn't figure out what was wrong with Nan Gonghao. It was really embarrassing for him to lose his composure like this. After receiving the half-Earth class artifact from the Elder, Shadowless left with the people from the assassination hall. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. Chapter 1368. Because the half-Earth rank treasure he had just obtained was gone. It was indeed gone. It was as if it had disappeared into thin air. How is this possible? Shadowless was shocked. He quickly scanned his surroundings but found no one around him. Who is it? Get out here! Shadowless's expression was cold. A trace of ferocity finally appeared on his expressionless face. Murderous aura surged from his body and instantly pierced through all directions. Feeling this murderous aura, the surrounding warriors all exclaimed and retreated crazily. They did not expect Shadowless to go crazy and release such a murderous aura. Crazy! This is really crazy. First Nan Gonghao, now Shadowless. What was wrong with them? No one could understand why the top prodigies had gone crazy. On the other side, Bloodhand and Ghost Li also snorted coldly. Both of them were in a bad mood. They did not obtain the Blood Soul Stone. Although they had obtained other treasures, they were still very unhappy. At this moment, seeing Shadowless and Nan Gonghao go crazy, they sneered. However, in the next moment, both of their expressions changed at the same time. This was because they discovered that the treasures they had just won had also disappeared. Now they finally knew why Nan Gonghao and Bloodhand went crazy. The same thing must have happened. Strange. It was really strange. Clearly, No one had made a move, but their treasures had disappeared into thin air. There's a peerless expert. Bloodhand's face was terrifyingly gloomy, his murderous aura condensed, and was about to explode. Ghost Lee's expression was also ferocious. His green eyes bloomed with a terrifying light. Impossible, no matter how powerful a warrior is. He can escape our detection, but we didn't find anything. This means that it's not what we think at all. But what method is it? These prodigies really could not understand. In the next moment, there were more exclamations. It seemed that those people's treasures had mysteriously disappeared. Among them, there was one voice that was the sharpest. It was a woman's voice. It was very mournful, as if it could pierce the entire sky. Ah, damn it! Who is it? Who dares to take my blood soul stone? Don't let me find you, or I'll tear you to pieces. What? The blood soul stone was lost? Hearing this, the surrounding people were shocked. Thinking back to how those sky prides had gone crazy, they finally understood what had happened. Could it be that someone had stolen all the treasures they had won? From the looks of it, it was possible. Otherwise, these people would not be so crazy. But how was that possible? They were all top-notch experts who could snatch away the treasure in front of them. And from the looks of it, they didn't seem to have discovered who the enemy was. Everyone was stunned. It was as if they had seen a ghost, because this matter was simply too strange. The people in the auction house naturally knew about it, so they decided to quickly seal off the entire auction house and investigate carefully. However, no matter how much he investigated, there were no results. There was only a group of sky prides whose faces were terrifyingly dark. On the other side, Lin Xian looked at the pile of treasures on the ground and laughed loudly. The little white monkey kept yawning and rubbing its eyes. It seemed that it was very tired. It seemed that seizing so many treasures this time must have consumed a lot of its energy. Lin Xian generously gave him a pile of top-grade spirit fruits and hurriedly let the young man rest. The little white monkey hugged the pile of spirit fruits, turned into a ray of white light, and entered the demon beast pouch. Lin Xian took out a few stalks of spirit herbs and a blood-red stone from the pile of treasures on the ground. These spirit herbs were not bad and would be of some use to him. And this blood-red stone was the most precious of them all. It was the blood soul stone, which could increase blood chi and soul power. As for the other items, although they were also treasures, Lin Xian did not care about them. He just casually put them away. This is the blood soul stone. The Crimson Dragon was shocked. He did not expect another treasure to appear at the auction. Murong Qingcheng also exclaimed, then said slowly, "This blood soul stone is indeed precious. Even the Murong family doesn't have many. I only got a little on my birthday in the past. I didn't expect you to be so lucky." Lin Xian was also very excited. With the blood soul stone, his angry dragon mantra, and sky spill visualization image would definitely be able to improve. Let's go back. I think those guys are going crazy. The Crimson Dragon was also excited. Hee, should we send them a message? Of course. I'm waiting for them to come to me. If I don't send them a message, how will they know that I did it? Therefore, Lin Xian kept laughing along the way. The items at the auction were really good. This was a great harvest. Anyway, they were all extremely arrogant words. Soon, these words reached the ears of the sky prides. In the auction, Nangong Hao, Blood Hand, Ghost Li, Shadowless, Ziyang, Pink Family, and many other elite warriors were all gritting their teeth. Although they did not see it with their own eyes from the reports of their subordinates, this matter was definitely related to Hua Wufeng. It was even possible that he was the one who did it. This was because he did not even come to the auction. How could he know what happened at the auction and say such things? Wasn't he obviously provoking them? Hua Wufeng, how dare you steal from me? I'll tear you into pieces. Nangong Hao's expression was cold. He had never suffered such a loss before. Bloodhand's expression was ferocious. The sea of blood on his body surged, emitting a strong smell of blood. Ghostly also had a ferocious smile on his face. His green eyes were emitting a very strange light. Like Bloodhand, he was determined to get the Blood Soul Stone. Originally, he thought that the two of them had no hope after it fell into the hands of the Pink family. However, he did not expect the situation to take a turn now. Although they had dropped many treasures, the Blood Soul Stone had also been dropped. Moreover, from the current situation, it seemed that Hua Wufeng had stolen it. This was undoubtedly good news for them. If they could snatch the Blood Soul Stone from Hua Wufeng, it would be theirs. There was no need to return it to the Pink family. Thinking of this, Ghostly laughed coldly. He looked like an evil spirit. However, the others could not laugh at all. Their faces were gloomy, as if they wanted to kill someone, especially the Pink family. They were so angry that they stomped their feet. Their status was so high that no one in the entire Black Dragon religion dared to offend them. However, someone dared to steal from them. This was really audacious and intolerable. Hua Wufeng, right? No matter how capable you are, no matter what your identity is, you're dead for daring to find trouble with the Pink family. I'll let you know that in front of the Pink family, whether you're a Ninth Heaven Supremacy or the disciple of the Third Guardian, everything is useless. Chapter 1369. The Southern Wilderness ancient town naturally received the news as well. Hence, the order was passed down. The martial artists and elites of the various halls could attack, but they were only allowed to attack Hua Wufeng. They were not allowed to implicate others. Hearing the news, the prodigies and elites all revealed sinister smiles. Soon, a few of them gathered together and began to discuss. Although they used to be enemies, they now had a common enemy, and that was Lin Xian. What do you guys think? Do you plan to attack directly? Nan Gonghao asked, looking like a leader. Hearing that, Bloodhand said coldly, I don't need to attack directly to deal with him. Ghostly sneered, tomorrow is the octatic treasure chest game. It's not good to waste energy tonight. However, I'll send my strongest subordinates to kill that kid. The others nodded. They would all send their elite troops to assassinate Hua Wufeng. However, they would not attack personally, because tomorrow was the octatic treasure chest game, which was extremely important to them, because tomorrow would decide the ownership of the mysterious crystal compared to the Blood Soul Stone. The mysterious crystal was more attractive. One had to know that the Blood Soul Stone could increase one's vitality and soul, while the mysterious crystal could directly increase a martial artist's cultivation. Their cultivation had been raised that way, so they naturally knew how magical the mysterious crystal was. Nothing could be compared to the mysterious crystal. Everything had to make way for the mysterious crystal. Hence, these people would not attack before the octatic treasure chest game. However, they would not let Lin Xian go. Pink family, Yu Luosha, the most outstanding disciple of the younger generation. At that moment, her face was pale as she said coldly, no matter what you decide, the Blood Soul Stone is mine. Whoever dares to fight with me, don't blame the Pink family for being merciless. Hearing that, the prodigies and elites did not speak, but Bloodhand snorted coldly. Ghostly also laughed sinisterly. It seemed that the two of them did not care about the Pink family's warning. All right, everyone, let's talk about how to deal with Hua Wufeng. What's there to talk about? He's just an arrogant kid. If we really attack, I can destroy him with one hand. Bloodhand snorted with disdain. Ghostly also smiled coldly. I really want to do it. I'll extract his soul and merge it into my white bone banner. This way, my chances of winning tomorrow will increase by a lot. But to be honest, that kid shouldn't be easy to deal with. If he really wants to fight, he should be able to last 10 moves from me. But he's too strange. I won't risk tomorrow's game on the island. Tomorrow is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference, and also the most crucial day. At that time, the Azura Hall's army will arrive, and our respective Vice Hall masters will also arrive. That's a truly terrifying expert. I'm afraid that even the city lord of the southern wasteland ancient town would have to treat him seriously. Even if this brat can live past today, he will definitely die tomorrow. Ziyong said in a deep voice. That makes sense. Nangong Hao nodded. Then I'll send out a nameless elite fire element martial practitioner. I will let him know the consequences of provoking my divine pill hall. Leave the assassination to me. Shadowless was expressionless, but his eyes were full of murderous intent. I will also send out 5 elites. I will also send out capable generals. Voices rang out one after another. Soon, the various halls, as well as the experts, would send out their elites in preparation to kill Lin Xian tonight. Cold moon, lonely star. The night was very quiet, very quiet. Lin Xian sat in his room, took out the blood soul stone, and carefully examined it. It was a blood soul stone the size of a goose egg. It was very smooth and emitted a crimson light. It felt very warm to the touch. As long as he held it, he could feel the energy inside. If he absorbed a little bit, he could feel his blood chi and soul strengthening. Good stuff. This is definitely good stuff. Lin Xian was very happy. With this blood soul stone, his furious dragon formula and sky spill visualization chart could definitely reach a new level. However, he didn't immediately start cultivating. Instead, he frowned slightly. This was because he sensed that dozens of auras were quickly approaching. These people's auras were very powerful and fast. There were even assassins hidden in the air. Without a doubt, these were the prodigies. At the same time, he also sensed that Morong Qingcheng and Ruo Bingshan in the room next to him also wanted to make a move. Hence, he quickly sent a voice transmission. The 2 of you can sleep peacefully. Leave the rest to me. Then Lin Xian took a deep breath and disappeared from the room. In the next moment, he arrived at the roof of the Drunken Immortal Inn. Lin Xian stood quietly at the highest peak with his hands behind his back. He looked up at the cold moon as if he was waiting for something. Buzz. Suddenly, a blood-colored saber light lit up from the void. It was like a blood-colored lightning bolt, carrying violent energy as it quickly slashed towards Lin Xian's neck. This saber strike was very sudden, and its speed was very fast to the extreme. Even a ninth heaven supremacy wouldn't be able to dodge it. One could imagine that the attacker was definitely a peerless swordsman. Furthermore, judging from the violent aura, it should be someone from the Blood Fiend Hall. If someone else was here, they would definitely exclaim in shock. This was because the attacker was Blood One Saber. He only needed 1 strike to kill someone, so he was called Blood One Saber. At the same time, 3 cold lights lit up behind him. Three long swords were like venomous snakes, emitting a sinister aura as they silently pierced towards him. They were aimed at the middle of Lin Xian's back. If he was hit, he would definitely die immediately. Countless ghostly figures pounced towards him rapidly. Countless streaks of fire appeared in the sky, forming a fiery dragon that roared at him. Meanwhile, pink fog formed under his feet, quickly forming 2 palms that grabbed his legs. These attacks were formed in an instant. It could be said that there was an inescapable net, and it was definitely a sure kill. This was a sure death situation. This situation could make any ninth heaven supremacy despair. However, Lin Xian looked at these attacks and didn't seem to make a move. He stood with his hands behind his back, as if he didn't see them. When these attacks were about to land on him, a smile appeared on his face. The corners of his mouth finally curled up into a cold smile. In the next instant, An extremely terrifying cold aura exploded from his body and quickly spread out in all directions. In an instant, it enveloped the entire space. That cold aura was so cold that it froze the entire space the moment it appeared. Countless streaks of ice quickly spread from Lin Xian's body. The blood-red saber light in front of Lin Xian stopped in an instant and hung in midair. That saber light was covered by countless streaks of ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the 3 Han Jianguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghostly figures around him, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. This scene was very strange. It was as if a blue painting was slowly unfolding. Chapter 1370. The blood-colored saber light in front of Lin Xian suddenly stopped and hung in midair. The saber light was wrapped in ice, forming a layer of frost. Not only that, but the 3 Han Jianguang behind him were also instantly frozen. The sea of fire above him, the fog below him, the hidden weapons and ghosts around him, and the boundless sea of blood were all frozen at this moment. This scene was very strange. It was like a blue painting that was slowly unfolding. It was not just these attacks. The surrounding cultivators who had attacked were also forced out of the void by this blue frost. They did not even have the chance to escape before they were frozen and turned into ice sculptures. The one who had attacked was a handsome young man. He was dressed in a blood-colored robe, and his black hair was coiled on his head with a fork. He held a blood-colored demonic saber in his hand that shone with a demonic light. His originally bloodthirsty eyes were now filled with fear. He was an elite of the Blood Fiend Hall, Bloody Dao. However, at this moment, he was frozen. Behind him was a black-robed assassin. He was dressed in black and had short hair. His face was very ordinary. If he was thrown into a crowd, he would not attract anyone's attention at all. This was an assassin from the Assassination Hall. He was very ordinary, but his attacks were very sharp and could kill with one move. However, such a terrifying assassin was also frozen at this moment. On his left and right were 2 middle-aged men with pale faces and ferocious expressions. They held 2 ghost streamers in their hands, and the surrounding ghosts were released by them. These 2 people were surrounded by countless ghosts. They did not look like humans at all, but like demons that had crawled out of hell. These were the elites of the malicious ghost hall. However, at this moment, they were even more frightened than if they had seen ghosts. This was because they could not move at all. Their bodies were completely frozen. Below them was a beautiful woman. She was wearing very little clothes, and her eyes were even more seductive. She exuded a dazzling aura, but at this moment, she was filled with fear. This was a woman from the pink aristocratic family. Below her were 2 elites of the Divine Pill Hall. They were both fire-type elites and had strange flames in their hands. They could easily defeat a 9th Heaven supremacy. However, they could not melt the ice on their bodies. These people were the elites of the various halls. Every one of them could strike fear in countless people. However, at this moment, they were gathered together to kill Lin Xian. It could be said that this was an extremely powerful lineup. Even those top prodigies might not be able to escape, but now they were instantly frozen by Lin Xian. They still maintained their attacking postures, and even the hideous smiles on their faces were still present. However, the expressions in their eyes had changed. Each and every one of them was incomparably shocked and terrified. How is that possible? How is this possible? They couldn't believe that someone could freeze all of them in an instant. What kind of method was this? Perhaps even their masters, those peerless geniuses, couldn't do it. At this moment, Their hearts were filled with fear because they realized that they had indeed underestimated the young man before them. Lin Xian scanned the surroundings. So many experts and elites. This is truly a sure-kill situation. Unfortunately, you found the wrong person. As he spoke, he strode forward. Pong! Lin Xian took a step forward, as if he were taking a leisurely stroll. However, Bloodblade suddenly widened his eyes. His eyes were filled with endless fear because he found that his body was trembling uncontrollably. The qi and blood in his body were surging. The moment Lin Xian's foot touched the ground, his body exploded with a loud bang. In the end, only his head was left. However, in the next moment, the ice on his body released an endless, terrifying aura and completely sealed the head. In an instant, this terrifying expert from the Blood Fiend Hall, the awe-inspiring Bloodblade, was killed. Seeing this scene, those people's minds went blank. They could not believe it. With just one step, the terrifying Bloodblade was killed just like that. What kind of method was this? They could not believe it. However, they did not have time to think because Lin Xian took a second step. Peng! The body of the Assassination Hall assassin behind him also exploded, turning into countless ice shards. With the third step, the peerless beauty under his foot cracked open. Her face was filled with fear. With the fourth step, countless cracks appeared on the bodies of the two vengeful spirits hall martial artists on her left, and right as if they had been eaten by countless hungry ghosts. With the fifth step, the two peerless experts from the Divine Pill Hall turned into ashes and no longer existed. Throughout the entire process, Lin Xian did not move at all. With just 5 steps, the terrifying experts around him were wiped out. In the entire void, only some ice shards were still floating. What? This is impossible. How did he do it? What kind of method is this? It can be so terrifying. These people were not the only ones who came to assassinate. At this moment, there were countless experts hidden in the surroundings. However, when they saw the scene in front of them, they were all stunned. Ice. He's an ice-based martial artist? How is this possible? Isn't he a lightning-based martial artist? Heavens, he's a dual-based martial artist. Damn it, this guy hit too well. Everyone was horrified. They realized that they had underestimated the youth in front of them. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile as he walked forward step by step. The surrounding martial artists trembled and retreated. However, suddenly, the scene around them changed drastically. It was no longer a starry sky, but a sea of learning hell. As for Lin Xian, he was hung in midair by chains formed by countless bones. His limbs were pulled apart, and his entire body was suspended in midair. In front of him, countless bone swords, spears, and swords slashed his body ruthlessly. In an instant, his body was torn apart, revealing eerie white bones. Fresh blood flowed out, and the pungent smell of blood made one vomit. It seemed that Lin Xian would not survive. Lin Xian frowned. However, in the next moment, he sneered disdainfully. The illusion technique is very realistic. If it were any other Ninth Heaven supremacy, they would probably have died under this illusion technique. However, this is useless against me. He snorted coldly, and a low dragon roar came from his body. The surrounding mountains of bones, blood, and corpses exploded instantly. In the next moment, the horrifying scene around them returned to normal. Lin Xian was still standing in midair with his hands behind his back. In front of him was an old man in purple robes. He spat out a mouthful of blood and looked at Lin Xian in horror. Impossible! How could you break through my illusion technique so easily? He was extremely shocked. This old man was from the Purple Demon Hall, and he had also used the Purple Demon illusion technique. This illusion technique was extremely terrifying. Moreover, he was a ninth heaven supremacy. If someone was hit by his illusion technique, even someone one realm higher than him would not be able to escape. However, Lin Xian had broken through his illusion technique in the blink of an eye. This had completely overturned his understanding. However, Lin Xian's lips curled up. To be able to use such an illusion technique, it means that your soul power is definitely not weak. I wonder if you can block one of my attacks? Chapter 1371. Hearing Lin Xian's words, the elder of the Purple Demon Hall was stunned for a moment. However, his expression changed drastically in the next moment. He was extremely terrified. This was because he felt an extremely terrifying soul power rushing towards him. This soul power formed an invisible spear that was extremely terrifying. It instantly pierced into his mind. In the next moment, the purple-robed elder held his head and screamed as he rolled on the ground. Pain. It was really too painful. It was 10 times, no, 100 times more painful than being injured by a sword. This was the collision of soul power. He did not expect the other party's soul power to be so terrifying that he could not fight back at all. Now, he finally understood why the other party could break his illusion so easily. It was because the other party's soul power was more than 10 times stronger than his. He had never seen such a soul power before. Even their hall master did not have such a soul power. Who was this mysterious young man? Was he really just the disciple of the third guardian? But how was that possible? The elder of the Purple Demon Hall did not believe it at all. This soul power was too terrifying. It had probably surpassed the Venerable Realm. He did not believe that the third guardian could teach such a disciple. He wanted to spread the news, but the terrifying soul power pierced through his soul. In the next moment, his eyes widened and his soul completely disappeared. Plop! The purple-robed elder's body landed on the roof. His eyes were wide open, but his pupils had already lost their luster. What happened? The surrounding warriors were shocked. They did not know what had happened because they realized that the purple-robed elder was not injured at all. However, there was no sign of life in him. These people sucked in a breath of cold air and looked at Lin Xian as if he was a monster. They knew that there was only one explanation for the situation. The souls of these elders were gone, and they were killed. Was this young man also a soul expert? The last 6 surviving martial artists were terrified. However, they had still received the order, so they had to attack even if they were terrified. In the next moment, the 6 of them roared and quickly burned their spirit power. They exploded with their strongest attacks and charged towards Lin Xian. However, Lin Xian waved his hand. Instantly, countless icicles bloomed in the air. With a terrifying chill, they quickly pierced towards the 6 people. This was not the most terrifying thing. What was even more terrifying was that these martial artists felt the blood in their bodies instantly solidify, forming sharp icicles that pierced out from the inside. In an instant, their internal organs and meridians were severely injured. In addition to the icicles outside, everyone was pierced with holes. Countless icicles protruded from their bodies, and their blood quickly coagulated. Ugh. The 6 of them opened their mouths wide, wanting to say something, but before they could make any sound, they fell to the ground. A cold wind blew and whistled. The entire world fell into silence once again. Only the cold moon in the sky emitted a cold light. In an instant, the elite martial artists sent out by the various halls were all killed. However, Lin Xian did not leave. He narrowed his eyes and looked to the left. Then he said coldly, "You've been watching for a long time. Come out obediently. Do you want me to make a move?" What a sharp soul power. You can actually detect our presence. A delicate laugh was heard. Then the void fluctuated and a fiery red light quickly appeared. In the next moment, two beautiful figures appeared in the void. It was a man and a woman. The woman was wearing a long white dress and had a beautiful face. The man was wearing a black robe and had a cold expression. The two of them stood together and looked like a couple. Kid, I have to say that you're very powerful. You can actually kill so many experts in an instant. No wonder they invited me over. But it's a pity that you met us. No matter how powerful you are, you won't live past today. The woman said delicately. Lin Xian sneered. More than one person has said this to me, but I'm still alive and well. As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his finger gently. Suddenly, numerous icicles formed and quickly pierced in their direction. Poof! In the next moment, two icicles pierced through the bodies of the two people in front of him. However, Lin Xian furrowed his brows. It wasn't as he had imagined. Although their bodies were split open, there was no blood spurting out. There was even a disdainful smile on their faces, as if they were mocking Lin Xian. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two icicles pierced through the two people's bodies and flew into the void. Their bodies quickly healed and were as good as new. You're too naive. You can't kill us with this method. The black-robed youth sneered disdainfully. Lin Xian frowned. Physical attacks are ineffective. That means you're in a soul state. In the next moment, his soul power gushed out and formed two long swords that slashed forward. Whoosh! Whoosh! The soul power long sword slashed forward and hit the two people, but they didn't cause any substantial damage. Hee, don't waste your energy. You can't find where our souls are, so your soul power is useless in front of us. The woman in white laughed delicately. Whoosh! Lin Xian didn't say anything. His body instantly disappeared. When he reappeared, he was already behind the two people. Two streaks of sword chi appeared in his palms and quickly enveloped the two people in front of him. Suddenly, the two people in front of him were sliced into dozens of pieces by the sword chi. However, the two people were still laughing. They were even mocking him with disdain. The places where their bodies had been split apart turned into countless black and white flames, which then quickly connected with each other. In the end, their bodies recovered once again. Don't waste your energy. We have the fire spirit body. We have no shape or form. You can't kill us at all. The black-robed man said disdainfully. Fire spirit body. Lin Xian frowned and didn't attack again. Indeed, he could feel the power of fire from the two people. Moreover, the two people didn't seem to be humans. They seemed to be creatures that mutated with fire. You're from the Divine Pill Hall? Lin Xian frowned and asked. In the Black Dragon religion, only the people from the Divine Pill Hall had fire. You guessed wrong again. We're not from the Divine Pill Hall. We were invited by Pink Family's Yuluosha. Pink Family? Yuluosha? Lin Xian was puzzled. You don't know? The black-robed man snorted. It's fine if you don't know. Dead people don't need to know so much. Kid, hurry up and hand over the Blood Soul Stone. I can give you a quick death. Otherwise, I'll let you burn in the fire and make you suffer a fate worse than death. Blood Soul Stone, I see. Lin Xian suddenly understood. He then sneered. Just two fire spirits. How dare you threaten me? You're courting death. You think I can't kill you just because you have no shape or form? Kid, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed man snorted. The white-robed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice from the aura just now, you can't freeze us. Kid, do you know what kind of fire we have? The black-robed man said proudly. Chapter 1372. Brat, you're too naive. You don't know how powerful we are. The black-robed youth snorted. The white-clothed woman smiled sweetly. Although we know you have ice from the aura just now, it can't freeze us. Brat, do you know what kind of flame we are? The black-robed youth said proudly, I'm the black dragon flame. It's evolved from the flame on the founder's body. How can a puny human like you compare to me? Kneel down and hand over the blood soul stone. Black dragon flame? No wonder it's so familiar. Lin Xian whispered. He felt a familiar flame aura from the black-robed man, but he didn't expect it to be from the founder of the Black Dragon religion. He had once used the Black Dragon flame before, but he had abandoned it later on. The black flame he was using now was the Dark Sky Black Flame, a flame even more terrifying than the Black Dragon flame. Since they were both flames, the Dark Sky Bird was even more terrifying than the founder of the Black Dragon religion. Her flame couldn't be compared to his black flame, martial soul. Understanding all of this, a smile crept onto Lin Xian's lips. He looked at the white-clothed woman again and asked, if he's the Black Dragon flame, what kind of flame are you? There's no white Black Dragon flame, right? Hee, of course I'm not the Black Dragon flame. The white-clothed woman laughed. Her voice was cold. I'm the spectral bone flame, a flame formed from the burning of countless experts' corpses. Although it's not the founder's Black Dragon flame, its power is definitely not weak. So, brat, you should obediently accept your death. Spectral bone flame? Lin Xian's eyes narrowed as killing intent appeared in his eyes. Indeed, the rise of the Black Dragon religion had killed countless creatures in the southern heaven region, and this white-clothed woman was the spectral bone flame condensed from those corpses. It was extremely strange. It was similar to the white Yin thunder in Lin Xian's hand. I see. I didn't expect the two of you to have such extraordinary origins. Lin Xian nodded. No wonder I couldn't kill you before, but since I already know your origins, there's no need to talk anymore. Now, go to hell. Lin Xian's expression was cold and filled with killing intent. What did you say? You want us to go to hell? The two people in front sneered. Brat, do you know what you're saying? What an idiot. You are the first person who dares to boast like this after knowing our identity. Since you don't want to die obediently, don't blame us for being impolite. Their voices were filled with disdain. Then the black and white figures flashed and turned into two balls of black and white flames, quickly attacking Lin Xian. That terrifying aura caused the entire void to distort and crack. Lin Xian didn't retreat when he saw the two charging at him. Instead, he waved his hand, and a ball of black flames appeared on his palm. Black fire. The black-robed man was stunned when he saw this. Then he sneered disdainfully. Brat, don't think that you can scare me by making the flame black. A flame like yours is nothing in my eyes. Before he could finish, the voice suddenly stopped. In the next moment, the black-robed man's pupils suddenly constricted, and he let out a shrill scream, as if he had been heavily injured. What? How is that possible? How can you hurt me? He roared crazily. His nerves were twisted, and his face was filled with disbelief. Impossible. That's impossible. There's no flame in this world that can hurt me. I'm the sect leader's origin flame. He was crazy. He was really crazy. He was evolved from the flame of the Black Dragon sect leader. It was extremely terrifying. Even the Sky Prides would have a headache when they saw it. However, the other party had hurt him. He found it hard to believe because something like this had never happened before. At the side, the woman in white was also stunned. What? How is that possible? You hurt the dragon flame? Brat, how did you do it? A look of shock appeared on her delicate face. What is that black flame in your hand? How can it compete with the sect leader's flame? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Humph, you're just a black dragon. How dare you call yourself a dragon? You must have a death wish. What? How dare you say that about the black sect leader? Damn it, aren't you a disciple of the Saint sect? At that moment, the woman in white and the black-robed young man were stunned. They had not expected the young man in front of them to be so arrogant as to insult the sect leader. This was definitely a capital offense in the Saint sect. Unless the other party was not a member of the Saint sect, there's no need to know so much about a dying person, Lin Xian said coldly. Then he quickly stretched his palm forward. You must have a death wish. You're too presumptuous. The two of them were enraged and attacked crazily. They had said the same thing to Lin Xian before. They had not expected him to use it back. The black-robed young man roared. His body quickly melted and turned into a black dragon. It roared in the air and rushed toward Lin Xian. The woman in white also turned into a ball of white flame. She exuded an extremely cold aura and flew forward quickly. Lin Xian was expressionless. He said in a low voice, "Black flame martial soul, materialize." In the next moment, countless black lines appeared on his body. From those lines, balls of black flame surged out and jumped around his body. Not only that, 2 pairs of black flame wings appeared on Lin Xian's back. They spread out quickly, like the wings of a devil. At the same time, a terrifying heat burst out from his body and swept through the entire space. Lin Xian released his black flame martial soul and punched out. Suddenly, countless black flames condensed and formed a strange black bird that flew forward. If the people of the Tianwu continent were here, they would definitely scream. The heavenly netherbird. That's right. Lin Xian's black flame martial soul came from the heavenly netherbird. At that moment, he used the black flames to condense the heavenly netherbird's appearance and quickly rushed forward. In the next moment, the 3 balls of flames collided with each other and released a terrifying energy fluctuation. Ah, 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 ah. Then, from the center of the energy, a man and a woman screamed. It was so miserable that it made people tremble. Impossible! How can you have such a terrifying flame? Who are you? Damn it! What kind of flame is this? The 2 of them roared crazily, but soon their voices disappeared. Not only that, their auras also disappeared. Only Lin Xian's black flames were left in the sky, burning fiercely. As for those 2 fire spirits, they never appeared again. Under Lin Xian's control, the 9 nether black flames quickly spread and burned all the blood and corpses in the surroundings. Then they returned to Lin Xian's body. Soon, the entire space returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Other than Lin Xian, no one knew that a great battle had happened here. Chapter 1373. Author's note. I vomited blood and exploded. Seeing that I'm so hardworking, everyone, please support me. Please subscribe. Soon, the entire void returned to normal. There were no abnormalities. Other than Lin Xian, no one else knew that a great battle had taken place here. I didn't expect the Black Dragon sect to have such a strange creature like the fire spirit. I wonder what other surprises there will be at the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow. Lin Xian muttered to himself. Then he disappeared in a flash. In fact, while Lin Xian was fighting with these people, in another secret room, Nan Gong Hao, Blood Rogue, Ghostly, and several other prodigies were gathered together. Among them, Nan Gong Hao said in a deep voice, "This time, we have sent out the elites of each hall. Even we will have a headache if we work together. With that kid's strength, it is impossible for him to survive. It's too easy for him to die just like that. If it weren't for the Octatic treasure chest game tomorrow, I would have killed him myself." Blood Rogue snorted. Ghostly was also disappointed. Sigh, what a pity. Such a good soul is wasted just like that. However, Shadowless looked serious. You're too confident. According to my observation, Hua Wufeng is indeed powerful. He's not any weaker than us. Therefore, it was better not to make a decision so soon. At the side, Ziyang also nodded. He kept having a bad premonition. However, Yu Luocha smiled disdainfully. No matter what your people do, that kid will definitely die today. You're that confident. Blood Rogue glanced at her. I know what you're planning. You all want that Blood Soul Stone. But let me tell you, that Blood Soul Stone is definitely mine. You're too confident. Ghostly sneered. Of course, because for the sake of preparing for the unexpected, I've invited 2 fire spirits. What? You invited fire spirits? Hearing that, everyone's expression changed. Blood Rogue, Nangong Hao, and the rest jumped to their feet. They were very excited. They were all elite elites. Naturally, they knew what Yu Luocha meant by fire spirits. You crazy woman, what price did you pay to even invite the fire spirit? Ghost, Li's expression was cold. At the side, Bloodhand's expression was unsightly as well, because in this way, they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stone at all. However, Yu Luocha smiled sweetly. No matter the price, the Blood Soul Stone must be mine. As they were talking, they suddenly felt an extremely majestic power coming from afar. At this moment, an extremely hot aura came from afar. Sensing this aura, Nangong Hao, Bloodhand, Ghostly, and the others' faces turned ugly. However, Yu Luocha laughed. It seems like these 2 fire spirits have taken action. Since they have taken action, it means that your people are already dead. Humph. Nangong Zhong Hao snorted coldly. His expression was extremely cold. He didn't expect the other party to be so powerful to be able to kill the experts he sent out. Bloodhand and Ghostly's expressions were even more gloomy. This wasn't good news to them. In this way, they would have no chance to seize the Blood Soul Stones at all. Damn it! How can that Hua Wufeng be so strong? Kill all the assassins we sent out. How long has it been? Even if it were us, I'm afraid we wouldn't be able to finish it off so quickly. That damned guy is really hard to deal with. We were too careless this time. Low voices rang out one after another. At this moment, Yu Luocha stood up and said, Everyone, you can slowly regret it. I'm going to collect the Blood Soul Stones. Why are you in such a hurry? The battle isn't over yet. Although the fire spirits have taken action, it doesn't mean that you'll definitely succeed. Bloodhand said coldly, Are you out of your mind? Yu Luocha snorted. How dare you doubt the fire spirit's actions? Do you know what a fire spirit is? Hearing this, everyone fell silent. Indeed, the fire spirit stone was extremely terrifying. Even they might not be able to win, let alone Hua Wufeng. Soon, the blazing aura in the distance disappeared, and the world returned to peace. The smile on Yu Luocha's face grew wider. It's over. I didn't expect that kid to be so weak. It's over in such a short period of time. Everyone, I'm going to collect the Blood Soul Stones. See you at the Octadic Treasure Chest game tomorrow. Yu Luocha chuckled and walked out of the door. However, Nangong Hao and the others looked gloomy. He flung his sleeve and left quickly. After that, the others also left one after another. Although the assassination attempt had failed, and they were very upset, they had no intention of taking action because there was still the Octadic Treasure Chest game tomorrow. As long as they could win the Octadic Treasure Chest game, their previous failure was nothing. The night passed quickly. The next day, the southern wilderness ancient town was bustling with activity again. Many disciples were discussing what had happened yesterday. Not everyone could enter the auction. Most ordinary disciples could not enter at all. Therefore, they did not know much about what had happened yesterday. It was not until today that the news had spread through the crowd's discussion. You're saying that someone attacked Nangong Hao and the others yesterday? That someone stole all the treasures? Oh my God. I'm not dreaming, am I? It's true. I was there yesterday, and I saw how flustered and exasperated those sky prides were. I've never seen such an expression in my life. That Hua Wufeng is too powerful. He managed to steal the treasures from so many sky prides without anyone noticing. Humph. So what if he's powerful? He's already dead. Someone sneered. What? Dead? The crowd was in an uproar. Are you kidding? How could such a powerful person be dead? What do you know? There was an intense battle last night. That kid must have died without a burial place. I'm afraid there's not even a corpse left. What? There was an intense battle last night. How could that happen? Why didn't I feel anything at all? It must have been a top-notch expert. Such an intense battle did not cause any ripples. He's too powerful. The crowd was shocked and asked one after another. Finally, they understood what had happened. It turned out that the various halls and top-notch sky prides had sent out terrifying experts to kill Hua Wufeng. It was even rumored that the fire spirit had made a move. In other words, there was no chance of him surviving. Sigh, that Hua Wufeng is too arrogant. He offended so many sky prides at the same time. Otherwise, he should still be alive. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those sky prides sent out people who did not hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, the Pink family sent out Hualing to kill him. That's why, forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family, because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Chapter 1374. What do you know? He was fine when he offended those sky prides. Those people sent by those sky prides didn't hurt Hua Wufeng at all. In the end, it was the fire spirit sent by the Pink family that destroyed him. That's why, forget about being arrogant before. You must not provoke the people from the Pink aristocratic family because no one knows what kind of terrifying experts they can find. Hua Wufeng is a living example. Everyone trembled when they heard about the Pink family. That's right. Even someone as strong as Hua Wufeng, who could fight against the various sky prides, was powerless in front of the Pink family. It had to be said that this was too shocking. Forget it. Let's not talk about him. Today is the last day of the Dark and Light Conference. The Octadic Treasure Chess game will be the highlight. That's right. The top sky prides from the various halls will definitely fight at the Octadic Treasure Chess game. I'm afraid you won't be able to see such an intense battle normally. It's because the Octadic Treasure Chess game is on the third day that those top sky prides didn't fight. Otherwise, Hua Wufeng wouldn't have the chance to be so arrogant. Any sky prides could easily destroy him. That makes sense. All right, let's go. Let's go to the Octadic Treasure Chess game. If we're late, we won't be able to see the fun. Everyone moved and headed towards the center of the southern wilderness ancient town. The Octadic Treasure Chess game was a formation. To be precise, it was an ancient formation. Looking down from the sky, the formation looked like a chessboard. That was why it was called the Octadic Treasure Chess game. In fact, it was related to chess. The formation had a total of 8 positions, and each position could allow one martial artist to stand. The martial artists would use themselves as chess pieces and battle techniques as the chessboard to move around. Not only did they have to fight against the enemies created by the formation, but they also had to fight against 7 other martial artists. It was a very dangerous formation. The leader of the Black Dragon religion used the mysterious crystal as a reward and integrated it into the formation. Then he let the disciples of the religion kill each other. Only the winner would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal. It could be said that this was a very cruel elimination mechanism. However, it gave everyone hope. As long as they were strong enough to win the octadic treasure chess game, they would be able to obtain the mysterious crystal and increase their cultivation. Now, all the martial artists in the entire southern desolate ancient town were rushing in the direction of the early octet treasure chess game. On the other side, in the Drunken Immortal Inn, Lin Xian opened his eyes. After killing those assassins yesterday, he returned to his room and began to absorb the power of the Blood Soul Stone. It had to be said that these Blood Soul Stones were truly miraculous, worthy of those Black Dragon cult's experts fighting over them. In just one night, Lin Xian could feel his blood essence and soul power growing. One had to know that this was an extremely rare occurrence. This was because his Furious Dragon incantation and Sky Spill visualization diagram had both reached a bottleneck and were temporarily unable to break through. In other words, his blood chi and soul power had reached the peak. Unless he made another breakthrough and entered the 9th heavenly layer, it would be impossible for his soul power to increase again. Now, with just one blood soul stone, his blood chi and soul power had improved in one night. One had to admit that it was simply too miraculous. With a flip of his palm, Lin Xian put the blood soul stone into his storage ring. In just one night, I've absorbed about 1/5 of the blood soul stone's energy. The effect is very obvious. The corner of Lin Xian's mouth curled up slightly. However, he could not absorb anymore because he wanted to see what this so-called octadic chess game was. Southern Desolation Ancient Town, octadic chess game. The ground in front rose high, forming a unique plateau. On top of it, there were crisscrossing straight lines that intersected with each other. From the sky, it looked like a huge chessboard. On the chessboard, a cold light flickered, releasing a primitive power that made one's heart palpitate. Around the chessboard, a sea of people had gathered. Countless people stretched their necks and looked forward. At the front, a few figures stood proudly. They were the geniuses of the various halls. Nan Gonghao was dressed in a robe and had an arrogant expression. When he saw Yu Luosha coming from behind, he immediately snorted. It was obvious that he was still brooding over yesterday's incident. On the side, Bloodhand's eyes flickered. He said in a deep voice, "In a while, do you dare to take out the Blood Soul Stone as a wager on the octadic chess game? Hee, if you dare to take it out, I can guarantee that the Blood Soul Stone will be mine." On the other side, Ghostly sneered. Yu Luosha snorted coldly. There was a layer of ice on her exquisite face. It was obvious that she was not happy. The next moment, she said coldly, "I won't use the Blood Soul Stone as a wager because it's not in my hands now." "Not in your hands?" Nan Gonghao was stunned. Bloodhand sneered. "If you don't dare to take it out, then forget it. Why lie like this? Do you think I'm afraid of you?" Yu Luosha frowned and stared at Bloodhand. "What's going on? Tell me quickly." Ghost Li's expression was cold because Yu Luosha did not seem to be lying. Could something have happened? "The Blood Soul Stone is indeed not in my hands because the 2 fire spirits did not return yesterday." "What? Did not return? How is that possible?" In the distance, Shadowless also frowned. "Do you know the reason?" Could it be that those 2 fellows also wanted the Blood Soul Stone, so they did not give it to you? Impossible. They are fire spirits. They do not need the Blood Soul Stone. What they need is Huyen, so it is impossible for them to take the Blood Soul Stone. I think there must be another reason why they did not come, Yu Luosha said solemnly. "Then what is the reason? The 2 fire spirits are incomparably powerful. No one can subdue them, right?" Bloodhand was puzzled. "Not necessarily. In this southern desolation ancient village, there is still one person who can subdue the two of them. Who? City Lord. Yuluosha gritted her teeth and said, "If the City Lord makes a move, I'm afraid the two fire spirits will not be able to resist." "You're saying that the City Lord also wants the Blood Soul Stone?" Ghost Lee's expression became extremely ugly. "Why not? The Blood Soul Stone is useful to everyone. He is also a supremacy. Naturally, he also needs the Blood Soul Stone." Yuluocha's voice was cold as she sneered. "Just you wait. In any case, the elders from the various factions will be here today. When the time comes, I don't believe that the City Lord will be able to withstand the wrath of my pink family. When the time comes, I'll make him spit it out the same way he ate it." Everyone discussed. From the beginning to the end, they did not think that it was Lin Xian who made a move, because in their opinion, Lin Xian was already dead. It was impossible for him to defeat the fire spirits. The few geniuses were gloomy, and their expressions were somewhat gloomy. At this moment, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light, forming 8 flickering patterns in all directions. Soon, a low voice sounded in everyone's ears. As the voice fell, the octatic treasure chessboard in front of them changed. On the crisscrossing chessboard, black and white chess pieces appeared one after another. You're tuning in to the Mystic Fist YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.